following is a special presentation. From the Captain Esports Network.
This isn't just a game. This is iRacing. At the corner of 16th and Georgetown sits a special racetrack that has sat around for over 110 years. It has sat around watching legends cross the yard of bricks in winning the greatest spectacle in racing, and that is known as the Indianapolis 500. This past Sunday, Joseph Newgarden added his name to a very rare list of drivers that have won the race more than once. Tonight, we have a special event for you. The Stars and Stripes Racing Series presents their annual trip around this 2.5-mile yard of bricks known as Indianapolis Motor Speedway, virtually on iRacing, where tonight they will crown a champion of their Indianapolis 500-mile race. I am the captain, Chris Scala. We welcome you in on this Thursday evening. This is one of 3 times that you are going to see racing at the Brickyard here this week in the Indianapolis 500. It starts tonight with the Stars and Stripes Racing Series. We get ready to go for 200 laps of racing. We have at least 25 cars. We won't get the full 33. I know they were looking for 38, but should get 25 at least cars out here racing. The best drivers from the Stars and Stripes Racing League. They are going to go at it here in just moments here around this 2.5-mile racetrack to see who is going to kiss the bricks, drink the milk, and be known as the champion. Again, this race goes all the way back to 1911. Ray Haroon taking that car to victory lane. It has seen multiple winners, and if you've watched the Captain Esports Network for its entirety, all the way back into the For Racers Only TV era, you've seen plenty of Indy 500s and Indianapolis races ran on this track, and you know the fame and prestige, and people take it seriously here on iRacing. And if you don't believe that, just look at all the drivers that are qualifying and running laps, getting ready for the races this weekend on the iRacing side. So let's explain the Stars and Stripes Racing Series. These guys have been around for a while. I know Nate Lynch he and I have stayed in contact for years. When I believe he was over in the, I have to remember if I'm correct here. On Wednesday nights, of course the GLSR series, he was there when I first met him, and then he of course started up Stars and Stripes. And I remember broadcasting back before the IndyCar video game issue that happened, of course, with that company that had us lose IndyCar on iRacing, and then I stopped broadcasting it, and then here we are now back at it. And this is going to be the second IndyCar broadcast you've seen on the Captain Esports Network since the return, and the first one here at the Brickyard. So we are looking forward to what is coming up here in the very near future of this race. But these guys are mostly race car drivers on the NASCAR side, the stock car side. So expect some surprises tonight. If you're used to seeing IndyCar racing, you might not see that typical type of thing here tonight. So we'll explain more of that because we got 200 laps and 500 miles to go through all of this. But right now, as you see, the cars are starting to grid. It's overcast, it's cloudy, but there's no rain in the forecast. What is in the forecast, though, is the national anthem. Let's go trackside.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
All right, anthem is done. 27 cars have made the grid for the greatest spectacle in Stars and Stripes racing, we'll call it, tonight. Virtually here on iRacing, let's take a look at the starting lineup for their annual running of the Indianapolis 500 virtually on iRacing here tonight. Shane Wyatt, 39.319 second lap. He will start on the pole in that 27 car alongside Christian Lokshin, Midwest driver that's starting second. Jason Gratton, DJ Weeks, they're in row number 2. Zachary Nelson, Kyle McCoy in Cyhawk Motorsports, they're starting in row 3. Scott Rickard, Trey Jackson, row 4. Dylan Grimm and Aaron Hale, they'll take row number 5. Derek Offerman and Alex Buffoli, they're in row number 6. Row 7, Nate Lynch and Brian Lynch, the brothers, starting in row number 7. Andrew Medlin and Johnny Eckert there, row 8. Row 9, Andrew Hess. Believe it or not, yes, he does have the Hess machine on his car, I believe, tonight. Alongside Greg Hammond, Jonathan Tier, and Lloyd Moore there in row 10. Mark Fish and Talon Drake, row 11. Row 12, Sam Siegel, Josh Robinson. Row 8, Josh Gratton and Brian Burchett, and Mark Schrader will start in 27th, the last and 14th driver on the grid. Race information tonight, 200 laps, 500 miles. Some are going to say nice, but it is 69 degrees, 77% humidity, overcast skies, 16-mile-an-hour wind, so a pretty stiff breeze. We'll have to see which direction it's blowing out of, because that's going to affect these cars as they come out of the North Chute and come to the green flag to start their running of the Indianapolis 500, the Stars and Stripes Racing Series here on the Captain Esports Network for this special event. It is the week of Indianapolis on iRacing, and we start now. Of course, our camera is presented by TrackCams22.com. You check them out online on Facebook and the iRacing forums at TrackCams22.com. As being joined by Wesley Outland, who is here, and I believe we have a caution on the track here. Talon Drake has already jumped to the pits here, so this is not the way you want to start a race. But Wesley, of course, as you know, he knows this series a lot more than I do, as he broadcast on the series throughout with LSR TV. And Wesley, obviously, welcome in to Indianapolis here. I know this is not the start these guys want, but we appreciate you coming on board and joining us tonight.
Thank you very much, Chris. Pleasure. Thank you for the invitation. Thanks to the Stars and Stripes Racing League. And yes, it was a very fun season. And I definitely had this one circled on the calendar, though it's not on our regular network and it's on the Captain Esports Racing Network, as you aforementioned. I love Indianapolis. I found myself in the race haulers of race car drivers at tracks in Maryland and Virginia last weekend during the Indy 500, poking in when I wasn't having to do my regular duties to find out what happened at the greatest spectacle in racing. And we're going to have the same fun here tonight with the big boys on virtual iRacing, the Stars and Stripes Racing League. So good evening to you, Chris.
Absolutely. Good evening to you. And yeah, we've unfortunately had a little bit of a rough start here as caution has come out for the first time. Let's take a look at the replay here. And obviously they get the green flag. And this is one thing that I kind of brought up a little bit, Wesley, here during the pre-race is these guys are not used to running these open wheel cars. It's a one-time thing. As you see right there from third place, Grattan gets loose over the grass. And didn't see what happened to Talon Drake, but obviously just these guys got to get used to this car.
Though this is a regular annual event to close the year, as you said, Chris, these drivers of the Stars and Stripes Racing League are used to running the Xfinity car. That's what they've ran all year long. And then you put them in an open wheel car, you're going to see this type of an environment. As obviously we have a caution out here in the early going. We'll get them reset, re-racked, restacked, and we'll try this here again. 2.5 mile. You mentioned the short chute. That's 5/8 of a mile. This track at 2.5 miles. This was a rectangular type of racing facility here. It is fun. It is fast. You see the 6 on the inboard cockpit. You can rest assured they're always going to be locked at that, and you're going to see speeds at close to 220 plus miles an hour, so it should be fun.
It is going to be fun, and we're looking forward to what this night assures for us here. And yeah, right now the caution is out. We've got a few cars that have been on pit road here. It looks like Lloyd Moore, Josh Robinson, Sam Siegel, Mark Fish, and Brian Burchett have come to pit road. And Talon Drake, I'm not sure what's going on here. Unfortunately, it looks like he's going to leave pit road, or he's coming across the line here in a minute. And it's going to be 2 laps down. So we should get one to go this time by. And, yeah, otherwise should be ready to rock and roll here. And I'm actually going to mute our mics for just a quick second. So, yes, 4 laps complete. And obviously you see those cars on pit road. Now, I've got to talk to a lot of IndyCar drivers that race on iRacing a lot, and they've helped me with qualifying or trying to qualify for the race this weekend as I go for a second win myself personally. But the one thing I've learned from running these cars here the last couple of years is they pretty much tell me, look, from the time you take the green flag, Wesley, it is a fuel mileage event. You're not going full out. You are saving fuel the whole entire time. You wonder if these guys have that mindset, or are they just going to go? And if that's the case, it's going to make our fuel mileage very wide when it comes to what lap you come to pit road.
In years past, and a lot of the IndyCar events I've done, I remember back a few years ago, I used to do the SRE Sim Racers Edge program. And even in real life, Chris, you heard it last week in the Real 500. They were talking about breaking down your pit stops. Obviously, when you get a caution, this slows down your pit window. Obviously, you might see between 4 to 5 stops, 3 to 5 stops. It's just depending on how far you take it to the limit, and obviously push the tanks. Now, you know, last week at the Indy 500, we saw drivers pushing to 40, 45 laps on a fuel run as they're getting ready to come back down to cross the yard of bricks. The pace car is onto the pit lane, and they'll begin to get the speed. Green flag flies here at Indianapolis. Wyatt, Lawson, Weeks, Nelson, McCoy, your top 5 as they thunder their way to the short chute into turn number 1.
Single file restarts you're going to see tonight. That is the way the Indy cars do it. I know for sure I ran a special event myself last weekend at Indianapolis here on iRacing, and I was able to pull off almost up to 36 laps on a tank of fuel. I can't do the 40 that they did in real life. That I don't know if that's possible in iRacing, but you're going to see numbers from as low as 25, 26 laps if they're in fuel map 1 out of 8. They have 8 maps in iRacing and in the real life car that they can use. But you'll see some in map 1 that'll go 25 laps. You'll see some in map 3, which is not really a fuel save, but you almost save more fuel in 3 than the actual map 5, which is the oval fuel save.
And remember, the strategy in running these cars completely different than what it is like running those Xfinity machines as they've done. I'm a fan of these camera angles on the Captain Racing Esports Network. You're watching them thunder to the back straightaway. They're already in the north end of the speedway. They're at the short chute into turn number 3 and 4. Getting ready to put another lap of the board. 6 laps on the board this time by as you watch all these guys work their way back around the corner. The leader up in front. You see the rest of the top 10 coming across the line. Wyatt, Lawson, Weeks, Nelson, Pickard, and you see them all staying quickly, single file. And yeah, we even got the yellow submarine colors going back into turn 1, Chris.
And that's not the Beatles. We're talking about the Pennzoil car. That beautiful looking ride of, as I learned the names here still, it's Trey Jackson, I believe, is in that 5 car. It is the yellow submarine. You see the photo there, that Pennzoil car. Of course, had some pretty good history here recently, and of course you go back to Rick Mears back in the 80s. He won in that yellow submarine, but they're very tight racing here, Wes. You guys got to remember, there's no fenders on these cars, so you touch, it can be very, very dangerous here. As we see up front, Lockshin jumps to the front as he and Wyatt are single file up here in the top 3. You wonder if these guys are going to do the swap. Is it going to be just straight up getting to the front? But believe it or not, the swap that you see the leaders doing does work here. As we're going to go 3 wide down the back.
All about sticking it 3 wide, and then they do go 3 wide. Lawson trying to battle on the outside, fighting back. Wyatt now. Rickard in this fight. And by the way, these were the guys that were definitely duking it out. Obviously, Scott Rickard just coming up a couple of spots shy on the Cyhawk Motorsports Iowa champion, Kyle McCoy. At the end of the regular season, he stacked up in that pack right there, but the yellow submarine is in 7th, and they're firing back into turn 1.
Very interesting pass there, Rickard, 3rd to 1st. Buy one, get one free, basically there. That is the power of this draft. You will run almost 5 to 10 mile an hour quicker, depending on what map you're in. If you're in like a map 3, which you're not going to be able to see the maps when we go on board these cars, but basically the different map numbers, the different way that the throttle is working, basically, and it helps you save fuel in these cars. But if these cars are at full tilt down the straightaways, you can make 2 or 3 car passes going into one corner down these straightaways. Packs of cars here.
And they're already down to the front straightaway again. And as you said, Chris, they are literally in these different packs, no doubt. You've got Wyatt, Rickard, Lawson, Grimm, Nelson, Weeks, McCoy, all stacked up with each other, snaking around the racetrack in that first pack. Behind that driver, you've got Hale and Offerman, Boffey and Jackson and Lynch and Medlin. They're all in a second pack. Look at them breaking out of line, jumping out of formation. This is Rickard in the lead, but behind them, you can see Wyatt now trying to go to the lead at the bottom of the turn, short shooting 3 and 4. There
he goes. He has Lockshin there behind him. And one thing we will point out tonight, this overcast skies, 79 degree track temperature. That's going to open this pack into a pack race, I think, a little bit more. You're not going to see handling come into play as much as you might this weekend in the iRacing events when the sun is out. These clouds create grip, and when you have grip in an Indy car, the draft is powerful, and it is going to be a pack of 33 cars, and that's what you're seeing right now, except we have 27, but the top 16 cars right now within 2 seconds of the lead.
Yeah, I know they were this morning even trying to throw it out there, and there's this opportunity to try to fill a 33-car field. But obviously, the good news is, Chris, as you start 27, everybody gets to be in the race, and 27 is still a good car count here in Indianapolis. Rickard in the lead. By the way, McCoy falling back. There's the man in the 6th spot that we were talking about. That's the white and the red machine. There he goes, right there in the number 7. Trying to fight for position on the outside. Here comes now also Hale and Grimm to take those spots away from him as they exit the short chute down the back straightaway.
And that's going to be a disadvantage. As you see Aaron Hale driving in this draft here, he should be able to pull right up to the back of this car. And matter of fact, slingshot engaged to the inside. He's going to try to take this 5th position right now. But timing out the draft moves, you want to be able to try to make the passes on the entry of turn number 3. Finish it off turn 4 so that you do not get somebody slingshotting you up the straightaway, especially if you kill the momentum of you and that car on the outside. That'll create the 3 wide move as somebody shoots out to the inside here. 1, 2 cars right there.
I'm telling you, got a battle now, fighting for the spot, trying to find the way to break the air off of that position between Wyatt and Nelson and Hell. McCoy falls back to get another spot to the 8th position, Rickard now, the leader. He's up in front, but how long will that last? Wyatt on the bottom, trying to fight back, and then going to 3.
Wyatt's going to go to the front with Rickard and Hale now, who's moved up through the field. Already seeing some big movers in this race. Hale up 7 spots. You got Buffoli up 6 spots, up to 6th. So you're starting to see those guys work this draft pretty well here as we complete 13 laps on the board here out of the 200. You would think it's the last 10 laps of the race, but these guys just getting going. They're just getting warmed up.
You're exactly right. I mean, this is literally lap 13 of 200, 500 miles. And that's another thing, too, Chris, that I've looked forward to all year long. For instance, last week, they only ran like 225 miles, 150 laps. They're not running their full distance, if you will. But for this race, for the Stars and Stripes Memorial 500, this is the full shebang as we watch now. Wyatt and Nelson stride for stride, giving still each other plenty of room across the yard of Brickstone. Thunder back into turn number 1, into the short chute, fighting for this position. But as you said when we came on the air, 500 laps, 500 miles, 200 laps, the distance here. Boy, we don't want to go 1,000 miles around Indy, do we?
See, 500 laps, that's what, 2,000 miles, I think? That would be
close to 2,000 miles. Yeah, they'd hate me if we ever did that.
That would be a long night. We might lose our voice. Put it like that.
Man.
But hey, I'm down. Let's try it. Why not? But I'm crazy like that. I had Sean Ambrose, who of course does producing for iRacing. He and I were talking a little bit this week, and he basically said to me, "Are you mad, bro, with like my schedule for Indianapolis?" I said, "Yeah, I am, but I'm okay with that." Hey, look at the guy in the 8th position here. Remember, he was on pit road at the beginning of this race, Talon Drake. Yeah, he's up here now battling for 8th all of a sudden. He has worked his way up through this field and is literally doing his best Rossi impersonation in a sort of Rossi paint scheme from back in the day.
Well, we'll set up the 15 laps in, close it in on about the 15-lap mark of the race. Close in on 20 laps, 50 miles is what it's going to say. Scott Rickard is the leader. Aaron Hill is second. Not for long. Aaron Hill files back around him to go to the point back. Rickard's got to battle back on the high side. He can't clear him yet. Wyatt to 3rd. Zachary Nelson 4th. Alex Boffoli is in 5th. Christian Lawson 6th. Dylan Grimm is 7th. Talon Drake is 8th. Derek Offerman just passed around Drake to put him in the top 10. Kyle McCoy now also climbing. And now Jackson falling back to 10th. Lynch is 12th. Medlin and Grattan in the top 15 along with Weeks. And that's about the midway point of the top 15 as they work their way back into the short chute into turn number 3 there, Chris.
Heading
Exit
south.
turn 4.
Heading south right down the front straightaway here. It's 17 laps in, about halfway into the fuel run as these guys continue to swap out the lead. And I can tell we're in for 200 laps of fun. Is what I'm seeing right here, is what this is going to be tonight. And I'm glad because it's been a long day of work, and we're and this is going to keep me pumped up. I don't know if you can sign draft in an Indy car here, but Buffoli's trying it with Hale. Hale got the wall a little bit there to 3.
Yeah. Oh, my. Almost 3 wide a moment ago there.
Somebody lost a piece of their wing going into turn 3. I saw something fall into the grass, and I think I know it is. That Home Depot car right there is off the pace. Derek Offerman, and now they're wrecking it. One car goes flying.
Oh, wow. Big trouble. Front straightaway. End over end. Car completely destroyed. That looks like it's the number 22 Carvana colors. My apologies. We'll find out the names here. Derek Offerman wrecked. Mark Fish is wrecked. Brian Burchett and Sam Siegel have all crashed in some shape or form on the front straightaway here in Indianapolis to put us under the yellow flag for the second time, Chris.
And now they're trying to figure out how to drive these cars, because when they have damage, they are damaged. Sam Siegel went full-blown, I Oh, somebody's gonna hate me for saying
Airborne?
this. Driven?
Is that the word you're looking for?
Is that the
Airborne?
movie? I'm thinking the movie Driven. The way they used to wreck in that movie.
Yeah. Max Pappas is airborne.
I'm sure Luke Daniels, if a friend of mine is watching right now, has probably got a twinge in his neck. He does not like that movie. So this.
I will say this much: I didn't like the lovey-dovey story about it, but to do something with the FedEx Champ Car Series and have Jimmy Bly and the whole battle that was going on there, that was exciting and fun. Yeah.
Let's just go put quarters on the track and go just kick them up. How about that? Let's go pick them up with our tires. So Sam Siegel's got the ride of the race here, I think. I don't know if anybody's going to top this one. But parental guidance might be advised for this. This is Offerman here. Let's go to Siegel because he is in this Jimmy Johnson Carvana paint. And he's going full Top Gun here. That might get you a little dizzy. See Aaron Thomas watching in chat. He's already telling me I'm crazy, which I know. But, yeah, caution out. Second time here. I would think the leaders are going to pit here.
Chris, I don't know what happened, buddy. I was right here with you. Then all of a sudden I got knocked off for just a moment. So I'm trying to get back online. But, yeah, we're going to be seeing pit stop here, no doubt. I got a feeling any moment now we're going to see drivers be coming onto the pit lane.
Yeah, here they come right now to pit road. And this, of course, is going to make it very interesting when it comes to strategy, because you would think you just go to try to make it 5 stops, like you said, to the finish. But obviously now coming in here at lap 20, I'll have to do some math in my head, which is not my strong suit.
So you're 50 miles. You're 50 miles into this race right now. So again, you would think that maybe you could go, 40, 50 laps before you did pit if you were on a regular green flag run cycle, which is basically close to 100 miles, over 100 miles. Now, pitting at lap 20, I think that if you came to the pit lane, which we see everybody pit but one guy, Kyle McCoy, you're now going to probably have to pit 4 more times because you've jumped out of sequence, I think.
Yeah, so we pit at 180 here, and again, here goes my math. I'm going to go, should I do 35, I guess maybe would be a number, or is that too high? 30? If we do 35, 70, 105, 140, 175, 210. That's at 5 stops. So, yeah, so, I mean, still got plenty of race to go. That's basically what we're getting down to here. I think Kyle McCoy's going to try something here, Wes, where he'll probably take off here in the start and go as far as he can get and then come to pit road and go off cycle is what I'm thinking he's going to do here in this 7 car.
Yeah, roughly 4 or 5 stops, I think, is we're going to see in this transition. We keep on watching and keeping an eye on this now. And obviously we're seeing now Kyle McCoy be the man that's up in front because he did not go to the pits. Everyone else has, at least pitted once or twice, as we aforementioned. Big crash. Did we get a replay of that?
Yeah, we'll show it one more time.
Yeah, because I got knocked off here and I came back online. But here's a look at it on Campton Esports Racing Network for the second caution of the race at the Stars and Stripes Memorial 500. Look at this, on board with a 20, Derek Offerman. And then you see the man flying through the air there. Did we say that was Mark Fish?
It was Sam Siegel that actually went flying in the air.
Sam Siegel, wow.
Now, these guys must have a reset here tonight because Siegel is actually going back on track, because that would be one of those too much damaged, you're done wrecks right there, and they still have that.
I think they were told that they get 1 fast repair because this is a special race, obviously. I think it is allowed 1 fast repair, and that's it, so. As
we get ready to go back to green here, I want to go back that same lap onto the back straightaway here really quickly. I'll say Rex already got me. All right, this is where I usually fire my producer.
Wow. Can't fire the producer that's in the booth, right? Look at this.
He's got to figure it. So here's where I think, right here. Yep, there's the contact. There goes the wing, right there in the front of Offerman. So that's where the wreck starts.
Yeah. Because as you said, Chris, when you lose the wing, that takes away the entire handling on the race car. as now we get ready to come back for a restart. Everyone behind McCoy has pitted for the first time as they cross the yard of bricks here in Indy. We're back underway.
Saw the, as I learned the names here, some more. Talon Drake jumps out to the inside lane there. Going the inverted Rossi move. Of course, if you've watched the last few Indy 500s, Rossi's very good at that. Jump to the outside and pass 4 cars. Move.
This is the Captain Esports Network, and the Stars and Stripes 500 rolls on here, Chris, as we are watching quickly the proverbial cliche of bringing a knife to a gunfight. This is what happens to Kyle McCoy, as you saw the fast traffic just easily bypass him, put Scott Rickard back to the lead.
As one car was having some blinking issues back there, not sure who that was, but yeah, McCoy gets shifted back to third. Now he's got a lighter fuel tank, which is going to make him faster, but the tires are a little bit older, and that's what's going to hurt him here. But if he can just hang on here in the draft, keep the handling under, and he should be pretty good when it's all said to go, and he should be able to pit probably in about 10 laps or so in this race. As we get back to green here through turn number 3, it is Nelson now with Rickard up there in the front. So where do we want to be in this part of the race? Do we want to be out front? Do we want to kind of, we see the race getting wild, let's go to the back and hang out like a Daytona Talladega? I mean, I don't know where I want to be right now if I'm in this race.
27 cars right now are on the lead lap in the pack. The drivers that are a couple of laps down, including Sam Siegel and Derek Offerman, who were involved in that accident a few moments ago. So right now, to answer your questions, Chris, I would say you don't want to be in the middle. So I would say either you want to be up in the front where Rickard is right now, or you want to be playing possum and hanging in the back.
Hello, George Jones. I'm good with that. As we come off turn 4, and we complete lap number 25, an eighth of the distance already in, already swapping the lead changes. As these guys, they're bringing their A game in. Oh, one hard into the wall. That's McCoy.
Oh no, the champion, Kyle McCoy, into the fence. And he has shredded a tire on the right front and messed up the wing. He is just trying to crab walk, if you will, cattywampus around the racetrack to get to the pit lane. I don't think this is going to draw a caution either.
No,
he might even go on a lap down.
I think he's going to have big issues here. There's nobody around him. He just towed to the pits as Kyle McCoy tries to go off strategy, and unfortunately it backfires on him. Let's see. I couldn't tell if he had contact or if he just beeline to the right there, but it was an interesting move over here into turn number 1. There he's riding into third position, and usually in this pack you get tight, not loose. So let's see as he goes into 1 here. Oh, he gets maybe some net code there. So here on the Captain Esports Network, we have something called the crash cam, for those who don't know, aka the far chase. And let's see here from here. If we see contact, if we get our good friend Mr. Netcode making an appearance.
Well, there you see McCoy.
Ooh,
that's
close.
Oh, yeah, wow. The man in that spot got into me. Kyle McCoy going off the racetrack and into the wall, if you will. And now timing, the SDK server says that he went off course because he went off of a different racing pattern, if you will, than what the telemetry wants him to be. And just because of that, the Xfinity regular season champion from Iowa for Cyhawk, Kyle McCoy, behind the wall. I think we're going to take a look at the replay again here.
Yeah, I was just seeing who the car was that got into the back room. Was that red, white, and blue, and black, and multiple colored car?
So fast.
Yeah,
I want to say it might have been Zachary Nelson.
It is. It was actually Shane Wyatt. It looks like that blue, black,
Shane
and
Wyatt. There you go.
And he gets passed right there in turn 1, as I say that by Buffoli. But yeah, Wyatt just had such a good run into the corner, and he probably was trying to get off the gas not to hit him there, and maybe some net code. Just unfortunate break there for Kyle McCoy.
Hey, something else, you kind of hinted on it earlier, is we're back on board with the leader. This is well, now we're in the back of the top 7. This is, of course, the driver here of Dylan Grimm, as we watch them snake their way through the short chute of the racetrack, north end of the speedway, coming back off to the start-finish line. It is hell now, arid hell in the lead. A lot of drivers occupying Delars in this race. No chance of using Chevrolets or Hondas, but they are in the Delar cars. And man, they are flying around this place. Look at the speeds. Listen to this, 39.971. The fastest man on track is Lloyd Moore in 12th, 41.220 seconds. That's 236.8 miles an hour. Wow.
That is getting it right now, and I see the fastest trap time this time by a couple of cars. Shane White and Andrew Medlin, I got them over here at 237 miles an hour at their top speed. They're going into turn 1 likely. Again, there is a little bit of a wind, and I'm not a, well, I would like to be a meteorologist. That'd be kind of cool, but yes. I mean, if I didn't go to school for sports broadcasting, meteorology would have probably been my realm. And here comes 3 wide to the inside. That is Rickard, who ricochets to the front. Or Rickard.
Thanks for again, everybody, for joining us on the Captain Esports Network. And Chris, we are definitely watching a dandy of one right here. You didn't remember these drivers all year long have been in these Xfinity cars. And by the way, if I'm understanding correctly, I think the consensus is when they come back in the summer, they're going to be driving trucks.
Oh boy!
For the next season of the Stars and Stripes Racing League. I know they said they're going to take off at least all the way till about mid-July, and then they come back for their next season. But all year long, and you mentioned this, Chris, they drive the Xfinity cars. But this is an annual event. I want to say this is the 3rd or 4th year that they've had this race. And again, you're driving out of your comfort zone. Unless you're somebody that has got experience running these machines, you really don't know what you're really going to be watching. No. How you're handling these cars, these Indy cars, these open wheel cars. Completely different animal, but we're having fun here at Indy as you see them fighting for the lead again up front.
Yeah, these things are space shuttles, as Clint Boyer called them on TV. I'm like, oh, that's the perfect name for these things, space shuttles. But growing up on the east coast of Florida, I was like, yeah, it's kind of cool. But needless to say, yeah, 33 laps in the books here as Rickard and Hale and Nelson, these guys swap out the lead. And you nailed a couple of things there, of course, with this being the 4th or 5th running, as you said. I know I've got to do one of the races myself a couple years ago, got to broadcast it, and I remember that being one heck of a show. But just to clarify a couple of rules that are a little different, and I know I joked with Nate earlier as I kind of checked with him. I was like, hey, is this rule in play? Is this rule in play? Just to separate the stock car from the IndyCar thing. And if there's IndyCar viewers watching right now, I might get some tomatoes thrown at me when I say this. But there is a green-white checker tonight for these guys. They do have that in there. I'm ducking. Because there's a previous series that I do broadcast on the air still that ran an IndyCar series. That, true story, 98 out of 99 laps green. On lap 98, a caution flew. And they had 3 green-white checkers after that. And everybody who drove an IndyCar, who likes to do it and doesn't believe in the whole stock car system.
They were flipping out, right?
Oh, it was rage. It was rage.
And remember, you can't throw a red flag like the 107th running of the Indy 500 was and give a one-lap shootout to the checkered flag where Joseph Newgarden got his first Indy 500. And, hey, by the way, I don't know if you saw the Indy 500 this past Sunday night, but did you see the way Joseph Newgarden dead up
that was phenomenal.
Pato O'Ward and literally did it in perfection, not 1 but 2 years in a row. The same way that he won the race in the 107 year is the same way he won it this past Sunday.
$1 million question. Let's go ahead and answer it now. How many drivers have won 3 Indy 500s in a row? The answer, 0. None.
0.
0.
There's only a select few that have won it twice.
Or back-to-back.
Back-to-back. Yeah. And Elio Castroneves was the most recent one that did it back 20-some-odd years ago.
Exactly.
When he did it.
That's how tough it is to win this race. But if you go back, there's a video actually online on Twitter that I actually saw of Tony Kanaan. He's sitting in his rig, and he explains, I think he does it in multiple languages, to different crowds or whatever. He explained exactly how Newgarden made that move. And the one thing he talked about was how the McLaren car was faster straight line speed. However, the wind, obviously being out in front, pushed the car back and allowed Newgarden to get that run and in the draft and make that move.
Yeah, man, definitely fun. Hey, thank you to everybody for joining us. I'm just sharing your broadcast, by the way.
Thank you.
And I think I just hit the subscribe button as well. So thank you for joining us on the Captain Esports Network. And we come back to the action on track as we're working lap number 37 of 200. And you see Aaron Hell, still the man, continuing to lead the way. And things have kind of calmed down here. We're closing in on about the 75-mile mark of this race. Actually, correction, we're about 90 miles into this thing. We're closing in on 100 miles. And, Chris, things have kind of calmed down here for just a little bit.
Yeah, I think people now are getting into their race rhythm. I think you were seeing a lot of people testing it out and getting the feel out, but you wonder now, is this the fuel mileage part of this race? Are they realizing, to get to this part, to get to this lap, I got to be able to get this much mileage? And believe it or not, for those who have never watched an IndyCar race on iRacing, let me show you this view right here. I have a helmet cam. That's it. I don't use these cameras much when it comes to onboards of the
Coyote cam?
yeah, there it is. You would think I'd know this, but I don't get to do IndyCar broadcasts much anymore. I'm all stock cars right now, so it's time to get used to it. So I do have a helmet cam, though, and a big shout to of course, Track Cams for Gourmet, TrackCams22.com. But you see all these...
You know what this is? This is a yellow submarine.
It is. So you look right here. You got, from left to right, you got the front anti-roll bar, rear anti-roll bar, and then you have the mapping your... I'm sorry, that's your weight jacker, mapping, and then right there, the orange box on the right, that is your miles per gallon. When you're in the car, you can actually see your average map or average miles per gallon each lap and see what you're doing. So you try to hit a certain number right there. Now, the only number we can see on here is that 9 over here in the bottom right corner that shows Trey Jackson in the 9th position. So it's very, they do that personally because you don't want to see, you don't want competitors, if you're racing somebody that can sneak into a broadcast like this or go in as a, because I'm basically in as a spectator myself. So if you go in as a spectator, you don't see the other guys and you'll cheat and, a whole bunch of hootenanny.
He's going in as the yellow submarine for the Stars and Stripes 500. That's the number 5 of Trey Jackson for Wolfpack Racing. Looking like it's, of course, Scott McLaughlin's machine from the greatest spectacle in racing for Team Penske that's set on the front row for the first time in 40 plus years, 36 years to be exact, for the race last Sunday. And now you got a battle going on for the lead. Nelson getting around Rickard. Hell and Wyatt and Medlin are now working their way, snaking to the top 5 into 3 and 4.
You heard me a second ago. That's because Nelson about got the wall off of turn 2, but still was slingshot engaged, and that shark's eaten. I think that's a shark. Look at the teeth on the front of that car. But either way, he's going to lead for about a half a lap before Rickard goes right back to the inside and says, give me that lead back. Who's that? Hale into the battle. Wyatt, Medlin, the same guys you've been seeing mostly up here. But the really cool part about this, you have 23 cars that are on the lead lap as of right now. I'm sorry, you got 24 cars. You have the front 18 cars all within 0.3 of a second of each other. So that means you have 1.3 seconds from first to 18th. Way back here is Johnny Eckert, who I think is your, if anyone's your fuel-saving guy, I think it's this guy right here, because I've been watching him just kind of hang out. He's probably back here, map 5 or map 3, half throttle, and just riding. Somebody just hit the wall up there in turn 1, Shane Wyatt.
Yeah, Wyatt into the wall, and there you see him stalling the car out. Shane Wyatt
Caution.
in the top 5, and this will draw a caution. Caution will fly for the 3rd time here in the Stars and Stripes Racing League Indy Memorial 500. And look at this. Now, remember, Chris, we saw the same thing happen with Kyle McCoy, but it didn't draw a caution. This one does trigger a yellow flag here in turns 1 and 2 in the short chute.
Well, the ironic part is, oh, never mind, it was not White. I got him mixed up with another car. I'm like, wait, that's the car that got into him, isn't it? But it is not. But you see that right front is broken there on White. He'll get back to pit road here. It'll be closed, but he'll be able to get that reset done and put a new right front on it, and he'll keep digging, but probably going to have to be a lot more cautious here obviously into the future part of this race. But man, wildness so far. And the one thing that I've actually produced this idea to the SDK guys, and I think they're working on it. And I know there's some coding that they've done for certain parts of the app that you can do this, but I wish I could find a way to get the laps led right here on my screen so I could see it. And lead changes and leaders, because there's been a lot already.
Yeah, the yellow flag out here for the third time. And okay, so you're just over 100 miles. If you want to be exact, you're close to about 110 miles into this race. Nobody, well, everybody's pitted now, because obviously McCoy was the one driver that didn't. When he hit the wall, he had to pit. So you got to remember, though, the last time that everybody pitted for the most part was on lap number 20. Now you're going to try to get back in sequence. And what I mean by that, Chris, is you're seeing everybody, and I mean the entire thundering herd, is coming down solo to pit lane now to their stalls. There might be a couple of takers behind them. There you see one or two. But everyone else, though, they're right now pitting. These guys that are staying on track, because remember, caution laps count. The opportunity to go for a wave around or to get a lap back is going to these guys, because they're trying to one-up on the men that are coming to the pit lane. But with that being said, though, you're going to now put these guys back in sequence to around a 4-stop race, or maybe try to keep it to 3 more stops remaining as they're trying to get back into that 100-mile sequence of things.
As Rickard wins the race off pit road here, and let's explain the wave around here, because it is different than the whole Kyle Larson deal when he spent on pit road in Indy, because there was people asking me the question. I actually had to go research it because I knew it was different, but I didn't know exactly the difference between it. And here's the basic difference, and you're going to see it here in iRacing. In stock car racing, which is most of what iRacing's coding is off of, is stock cars. Okay, so the wave around rule on iRacing is simply, if you're in front of the leader, you will get the wave around at 1 to go. In IndyCar, here's where it's different, and you will not see it this way tonight because of iRacing goes off of the stock cars. As soon as the crew comes to pit road, so the leaders are all on pit road, whoever gets to the point where they're in front of the leader at the point that car comes off of pit road, they get waved immediately. They go. Because what happens is next time around, pits open for those cars along with the lap down cars. So the biggest difference is when the wave around happens, and if the pits are open for them in the IndyCar side. But with this, these guys taking the wave around here, the pits will be closed, which is the stock car way of doing it. So they'll be short on fuel here as they take the wave right now to go to the green flag. So that's the biggest difference when it comes to IndyCar to the stock car way.
Now you're called up, and honestly, that's the strategy, because now you have literally got one of your laps back, and not just one driver for that matter. Everybody that stays out gets that lap back, as we see Offerman and Siegel now both fall to 1 lap down only on the racetrack. Now 24, 25 cars. All right, Scott Rickard up in front. He leads the way. Zachary Nelson, Aaron Hill, Alex Buffali, and Dylan Graham top 5. And I was going to say, could we go to a commercial break? But I think the lights are off on the pace car, Chris. I think we're going to go back to green. You
take whatever breaks you need. There's no commercials here.
Wow.
Yeah, we're commercial free here, but I will talk about 4D Racewear. Of course, I have shoes from them. You can get shoes from them, gloves, and more at 4dracewear.com. Big shout out to Jim Herrick, who's done so much work there in the outside the Indianapolis area. He's a big open wheel fan himself. And if he gets a chance tonight, he'll probably be watching himself. But make sure you check out 4dracewear.com. Get your gloves and shoes when it comes to racing on iRacing. Very comfortable stuff to wear. But, hey, if you're watching on the chat, make sure you go share with 2 friends. Tell 2 friends and tell 2 friends. That's 4. Then we get new viewers, and we're good. Appreciate everybody joining us, though, as we come to the restart. Single file, everybody up against the wall. As we come to the green, we're just about to hit that 1/4 distance. Pace car doing all types of drifting over there. Hopefully you don't have a instance, the anniversary today, or was it yesterday, of the 19... Oh, somebody checking up in the back there. The wreck from 1973 where the pace car actually took out a grandstand over in turn 1. As we go green at lap 47.
Somebody was chiming in on the chat box on the Captain Esports Network, and we welcome you to please do interact with us, with Chris and I. Aaron Thomas says, with the way the draft works in these cars, it really promotes good passing.
Yes.
And yes, you're dead in on that. I know there's been some years past when iRacing had IndyCar where you might felt like you were in a box, if you will, and I say that as preferably a box. You can't go nowhere. They're hard as a rock, 3 wide.
Somebody's
one
off the
car
pace.
Way up high off the pace as you hear him work off of turn 4. Man, he's in trouble. Got to get up to speed somehow.
Josh Gratton, he's got a broken right front. Look at his right front tires facing out a little bit there. He got the wall, it looks like, going into turn 3, and he is off the pace in at Cabela's number 8 car.
Yeah, he's already fell back to 15th position, free falling, if you will, like the lyrics of the song by Tom Petty. And look at him all just going by on the inside. And just like that, look at this. He is really in trouble here as we pick up the leaders on the short chute of the racetrack. Off the back straightaway, it's Nelson, Rickard, Hell. They work off of turn number 4, snaking back to the line. This time by closing in on 1/4 of the way. 50 laps of 200 in the Memorial 500 for the Stars and Stripes Racing League as they're off into turn 2 in the short chute again.
Yeah, Rickard takes the lead away from Nelson. Hales right there, but Foley the top. As this was more of a spread out restart, oh, by the way, let's mention that. Top 11 cars racing here in this pack. And Aaron, yes, oh, trust me, I would love to have t-shirts.
Shark.
I want the t-shirts. Yeah.
You see the shark on the car, the new leader now?
Shark's hungry.
Zachary Nelson.
He's hungry.
He is. I like it.
He
and yes, man, they were talking about t-shirts.
I need a t-shirt. I gotta make one. I gotta go talk to some people, get to know somebody who does graphics and t-shirts.
Aaron Thomas chiming in again. He says at least his tire isn't free as a bird. Oh, thank you, Aaron. Oh, yeah, baby. Gonna throw out a little Leonard Skinner while I throw out some Tom Petty. Who caught that? Who caught that, Chris? Did you catch that, buddy?
I do. Oh, trust me, these guys hate my bad jokes.
By the way, I'm gonna. Is it Scala?
It's Scala.
Chris Scala?
Yeah.
Just Scala?
You call me whatever you want. Just don't call me late for dinner.
I love dinner. I haven't had it yet.
Me too, right? But no, it's yeah, or the captain, whatever. That's part of the network. It's literally for those who, me and Wesley working for the first time together, literally right now. And obviously he, I appreciate him wanting to jump on board. And the idea was brought up by Nate Lynch, who of course runs the series. I was like, sure, bring him over. Let's have fun. And that's what we're doing. And been enjoying that as Tyler Pluff chimes in. Strayer, oh boy. See, here comes my people. As Tyler Pluff joins us in here tonight, referencing Strayer, who has literally Freebird written on his car. So
I love it.
We've got the Skinner and we've got the Tom Petty free falling already. I'm as you know, when you try to do bad jokes, if it's not like off the top of your head, you will not find it. So I'm lost right now.
Right now we are 50 miles in. Or 50 laps into this race. So if you're keeping the distance, 125 miles is down. Over 50 laps now. Working lap 51. Let's give you your top 10. Aaron Hell is up in front. Scott Rickard second. Alex Buffoli is in third. Buffoli probably Zachary Nelson fourth. And Andrew Medlin top 5. Then you've got Trey Jackson, Dylan Graham, Christian Lawson, Talon Drake, and Lloyd Moore, currently your top 10 here at Indy. Chris, I'm going to step and grab a drink, buddy. I'll be right back. That's what I thought you had a commercial break.
Oh, nah. You just step away, whatever you got to do. We can take it from there. But, I appreciate Wesley for joining us here. 53 laps complete here. And one thing I've kind of caught here with all of this is the second pack back here where Jason Gratton is. These guys are back here 2.5 seconds off this lead pack. These are the guys right here that if this race goes green, I have an eye on, because if these guys are running fuel map 3, fuel map 4, fuel map 5, because there's 8 maps, like I said earlier, in these open wheel cars. Fuel map 6, 7, and 8, or 6 and 7 are for road courses. 8 is like, that's what you run under caution, basically saves the max fuel. 1 through 5 are for ovals. And these guys are probably running fuel map 3 and literally running half throttle. And how do I prove that? Let's just go and let's go on board with the car. Let's go on board with the all-black machine here of Burchett. And let's go bring up I said let's go on board with him, thank you. And let's bring up his, look at this miles per hour he's running right now. He's in 6th gear the whole way. And look at it, he's getting out of the gas. He's only at 215 miles an hour. So you tell me these guys are not saving fuel right here in this pack? I mean, yeah, they'll get up to 230 miles an hour here because of the draft, but he's going to roll back out of the throttle.
And Chris, can I throw something else
Yep.
as well, too? You notice that you're seeing on the tack with Burchett's car that you want to stay within 6th gear.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is you saw some of the other times where guys were bumping the throttle or they were losing power, like him right there. Okay, Nelson was in 5th, and then he bumps to 6th. The perfect lap around Indy, in real or virtual, is staying hammer down. You got to learn not to take your foot off the gas. Now, obviously, that's hard when you're in traffic, but if you can hit the perfect lap in 6th gear, that also is kind of like the equivalent of having cruise control on your real vehicle on the highway. You're saving fuel.
Yep, that's exactly right, and that's what they're doing. They're doing with throttle control. The difference, and the reason why I mentioned the Map 3 and Map 5 part is because Map 5 is a low enough map to where if you're back here, let's go back to where Mark Schrader is here at the end of this pack.
Sure.
If you're running back here where Schrader is, or even whoever's, is that McCoy, I think, that's at the end of this pack
I think it's McCoy. Yep.
So if you're driving in Map 5 right now, somebody turns left, you're just going to come to the pit road at Siegel. It's hard to stay with the pack if you get out of the gas. Where Map 3, you have enough power to stick with the pack, and then you just use the throttle modulation to keep up in the pack and stuff. So, meanwhile, the Hornet's Nest up front, who are not saving fuel, this is what we got.
And if you're up on the top of that racetrack, you're probably the fastest more than the guys that are on the bottom. Pardon the pun, believe it or not. You're riding the speed, the momentum up high. Look at the crossover. Look at the snaking off the corner. And then he'll dive to the bottom of the racetrack. This is Aaron Hell going back to the lead here at Indy in the black number 15. But notice that he's stuck in 5th gear. He can't get up to 6th yet. He's got to get to that 6th gear because that will change the gear and get him into another velocity of speed over everyone else. As you see what happened, snaking, reeling in. Alex Buffoli already in 6th gear, high wide to the bottom and to the lead here in Indy on lap number 57.
I'm actually kind of intrigued right there by that, Wes, because normally if you're in 5th gear making a pass like that, you're not going to complete the pass. And I noticed everybody backed off there as Hale took the lead here. That 6th gear is more of a drafting gear at Indianapolis. And you didn't see Hale use that at all, where then Buffoli was in 6th gear, slingshot engaged, made the move, and made the pass. So that was kind of interesting. I was kind of over here scratching my head when he was in 5th gear down the front straight. I'm like, ooh, getting tight.
Closing in on 150 miles into this event for the Stars and Stripes Memorial Indy 500. And by the way, not just the Stars and Stripes Racing League this weekend is doing their Indy 500 or virtual Indy 500s. iRacing in general, Chris, is doing the Indy 500s. I think it starts tonight and goes all the way until Sunday.
The first split is actually tomorrow night. It is tomorrow night.
Well, we're doing our deal.
Yeah, well, 9. Well, yeah, technically, I'll go with that. I believe it's 9 o'clock tomorrow night because we're going to broadcast the top split here on the Captain Esports Network.
Cool.
Yeah, I've got to know some people, and I love doing this race, and as part of that, me being a crazy guy, we're going to do the Friday night split, which is the first open race. Oh, by the way, 3 wide for second here for a minute. We're going to do the top split 9 o'clock tomorrow night, and then Sunday 1 o'clock Eastern time we are going to do that split, and that's the fixed one on Sunday. So we're going to do 1 fixed, 1 open setup, 500 top split, and whatever we can do to get the engagement of these cars out there on the air, we're going to do it. And of course, there's the 1 or 2 races I will be in myself trying to race in. So I don't have anything to do this weekend, I guess.
So Sunday is what time?
1 o'clock Eastern. There's 2 splits, 1 at 9, or 3, I think. 1 at 9, 1 at 1. You can go get the information at iRacing.com for those who don't know that.
Cool.
But, somebody slingshotting out to the
He
inside.
tried to go 3 wide, didn't he? Look at that move.
Medlin, the old Allenser Jr. paint.
I love it. The Vivaline colors.
Wow.
former multi-time winner of the greatest spectacle in racing in his colors, going to stick it too wide as everyone stays on the high side. He says, I'm a lone wolf. He'll stay at the bottom. I was about to say, man, I know Friday I'm not available, but I mean, if you wanted me to work with you on Sunday, I'm definitely to join you if this is how you do it on Sunday afternoon.
Well, yeah, we'll definitely talk about it, get it done. But yeah, you'll get to see the top split guys. I mean, these guys are
cool
running.
As hell.
I mean, qualifying right now. I mean, forget it. These guys are running 39 twos in qualifying right now, and I'm just like, how?
Yeah, that's flying. That's flying. Are they doing illegal things to their virtual simulators, right?
We have our cheesing and stuff, they call it in racing, but Zach Nelson diving it down here at the bottom.
Look at all of this crazy crossover moves, trying to go for the undercut on some of these men on the racetrack. Look at them going high, going low, and trying to go for that preferred line on the bottom to clear them. Meanwhile, back up in front, look at this on lap 62. Aaron held to the lead, but for how long? Rickard's going to battle back.
Ooh, Jackson thought about it. Downshifts to fifth gear, out of it.
Jackson's right there with him.
Lead changes, I have written down yes. I don't have a number. I'm just going to call it yes.
But yes, okay.
Yes, we've had lead changes.
Oh, 3 wide. Look at this. Boy, Jackson thought about threading the needle to the bottom, and he couldn't get there. A little wiggle and a jiggle and a giggle and a bobble, and Hale stays on the high side. Rickard now funnels behind them to the bottom. Medlin will go too. Look at this. Oh, it's getting like it's the last lap of the race, and they're still not even halfway yet.
64 laps in, and that's what I mean, they've been racing like it's the last lap, I think, all race long here, and that second pack has now caught its first pack. So we're all one big old pack again as Talon Drake has, oh, what happened again? He's jumped to the pits, and then something's wrong there with the 14 car again. So interesting to see what's going on there. As a matter of fact, there he is leaving pit road through the short chute there, turn 1 on the south stretch here. In what I believe is arguably the toughest corner at this speedway, turn 2 right there. I don't know what it is. All 4 corners are symmetrical. They're all 90-degree corners, which 90 degrees is supposed to be 90 degrees, right? No, everyone drives different.
Yeah, you drive Indy different than anybody else that you run any other tracks. And it's because of the track size. It's because of the way it's configured. 2.5 miles on Daytona that's a big track. This is 2.5 miles, but the configuration is what makes it be so unique at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And they purposely, when they built this track over 112 some odd years ago, a century ago, over a century ago, was to make the racetrack be this way. And it is this way. It is a conglomeration of fun, speed, manning machine yearly on Memorial Day. And they flock this place, man. Obviously, you see virtually how packed this place is. Well, last Sunday afternoon, it was the same way. You got to love it.
250, 300,000 fans that pack into a small town that, believe it or not, has a high school called Speedway. Do you know their mascot name?
It's Hoosier, isn't it?
They're the Lugnuts.
Oh, okay, the lug nuts. Yes, okay.
Makes perfect sense, does it not?
Yes, it does.
So, but Speedway High School right up the road there from the track here. We're just going through the field here and showing as Josh Gratton comes to pit road in the 4 car. He was one with the damage just a little bit ago, but right now 44. We've gone 23-ish laps on this fuel run, so about another 10 to 15 laps as these guys start to set up what could be the first of green flag pit stops here. Lap 67, just past the 160-mile mark in this race, but everybody's kind of, I think, minding their P's and Q's except for the ones up front. Those guys, I don't think they have P's and Q's in their vocabulary.
They better keep their T's crossed and I's dotted, if you will. No doubt about it. As you mentioned, door to door up in the front between these drivers of Rickard, Hale, Medlin, Nelson, stride for stride. Add also Nelson, Medlin, Jackson, and Lawson to the mix. Look at this great racing in the back now behind the top 8. This is now Buffoli. At one time, Buffoli was up in the front. He's fell back now. 3 wide as they're going to cross the yard of bricks.
Gratton under attack there as he falls back in line. That's the way you do this racing here at Indianapolis. It's one of those, if you go side by side into a corner here, you are likely going to lose a lot of momentum, which opens up the slipstream or the draft for cars behind you and allows those runs to come. Basically, you want to be able to try to get single file and lose the least amount of time getting past, because, well, as you see with this draft, you're going to be able to get a slingshot right back up to where you are.
And you know what's so cool? Obviously, there has been the invitation of not just having the regular season drivers to run this event, obviously, Chris, but there was also, hey, if you want to just come and run this event, you know you're more than welcome to.
Yeah, and so that's where you get league members with people that maybe aren't so used to running with each other here. So these guys have done a good job. Had that really quick caution in lap 1. Otherwise, just 2 cautions here. And we've seen racing like this the whole entire time. This reminds me of the 2000, I want to say 13, 14, somewhere in that range. I remember being at Indianapolis when Kanon went to victory lane the day where they had the record number of lead changes. And the weather, by the way, that day looked about like this.
Yes. Oh, and by the way, man, and I said this on my Fox Sports radio show Finish Line yesterday, as a matter of fact, when we were talking about Indy. And one of the things I hit it on was I don't think people realize how close they were. First off, the weather sucked on Sunday.
Yes.
What a difference.
Well, look at this.
Wide now. Look at this on the bottom of the racetrack. Oh, I don't want to go off subject here, but man, look at Zachary Nelson threading the needle. Got around all these guys 2 for 1. He's in the lead now.
He went 3 for 1. He went 4th the first. He's like, hold my beer, watch this.
High climber in the race, up 12 spots. Andrew Medlin, the 3rd place car. He's right there in line. I think it's the Valvoline car. That man is flying through the field here now in the 12.
Man, that might be. I mean,
yeah, Chris, as I was saying though, bud, the weather cleared. The green flag fell just before 5 o'clock. They had to be done. By the way, we're pardon the pun, going 3 wide again.
Oh, that's a replay. I'm showing the replay. I was showing the replay.
Yeah.
I was just looking at that. That was impressive. Sorry.
Oh, that was awesome. Yeah, Continue. It was awesome watching it. But by the way, the race got started at 5 o'clock. They were done just before dark in Indy. They actually were told they were going to have to be done by 8:15 per Indianapolis state law because of traffic and safety and everything else. But it got me thinking, though, Chris, who is ready to see Roger Penske light up Indy?
Well,
or do you not mess with tradition and you don't put lights there?
Okay, first things first, Andrew Medlin just, I don't know how many cars he just passed on the back straightaway to the lead. I'll have to go watch that replay when he gets here, but yeah, I don't think you can put lights on Indianapolis. First, I just don't see it. 1. 2, the front, here we go, 3 wide again. These guys are just going at it.
Nelson got the lead back.
Look at this.
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, no, hold on.
Jackson.
The yellow submarine spins into the pack. Hold on.
No caution.
We see a caution. No caution. Oh, this is heartbreak.
He's got that repair and plenty of race to get that thing fixed up. But, yeah, he was down the bottom there. I don't know if he clipped the grass going into turn 1, but that lap in particular, holy moly. But, yeah, the one other thing I'll quickly point out before they get to going nuts again here, there are houses right on the outside of the front straightaway here. So, like, there's a whole lot of living right here in this area. So I can understand the laws there. As here comes the before-mentioned Talon Drake, who's had issues on pit road. He is, he's like 12 laps down. And he's like, I'm going to go get these the hard way.
Well, here's my take on it. I never thought that they'd light up Daytona, and they did.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so obviously I'm of the mind you don't mess with tradition. But obviously
pit stop.
Having lights would be a premium. Okay, so here you go. Look
at this. The shark wrecks.
Wow, wrecking on pit road. Wrecking on pit road. The shark just got turned around. Man, oh man, they're closing in on lap 75 of the race, and they're coming on pit road, and you see them wrecking here.
Zach
And
Nelson.
yes,
Yep.
let them know, Chris, you can damage your car on pit road just as easy as on the track.
Yes,
Zachary
you can.
Nelson around.
As long as you're not in your pit box, you can damage those cars, and that's exactly what happens here. 4 tires and fuel, and you're going to see really quick pit stops here, about 9-10 seconds or so, depending on how much fuel you need. Now, these are the guys that obviously ran their tanks out pretty much here. As you could stay on the lead lap for the most part here. Is 3-1. Well, here we go again. Same song, different verse. Down to turn 1.
Boy, oh boy.
They're about to eat this lap.
Guys, you still have a whole race left. What are you doing?
This reminds me of a, you know, you might be able to relate to this a little bit. I know you've, with LSR, have done some stuff with Sim 500 on Monday nights. And the way those guys run super speedways, here's another version of it.
Yeah, dude, I used to be one of the announcers of the Sim 500 league. I used to do the Cup Series, I think it was, on Monday night.
Yep. Yeah. Now, well, I'm doing it with your buddy
You're
Kevin.
doing Captain
Kevin England.
Esports.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, Kevin England. I ain't talked to him in forever, but I hope he's doing well. I know he had some family members that had health issues,
Right.
and hopefully things are going better for sure. But yeah, I think the world of Kevin England. I always enjoyed working with him.
Yeah, he's a great dude, and obviously, yeah, no, everybody's done a great job with that whole thing. But this super speedway racing there is reminding me of this. And what we're seeing here is Medlin's going to come off pit road, 10.7 second stop, and one other car dives off. Here comes Shane Wyatt now. So this is where you take advantage of this fuel, because now the less amount of laps you go here on this run opens up, or I should say, opens up the window for the cars that stay out here to go even longer. And
Yes,
longer
it is.
and longer, and the window just opens up wider. Oops.
Pit stops are still happening. Shane Wyatt now onto the pit lane.
You won't see his pit crew. Hate to say that.
Yeah, you do. You see him standing around, but you don't see him working.
They're eating ice cream.
Christian Lawson, by the way, is the new man, cycled as the leader as they come to the line, closing in on lap number 80. Oh, we're just about, 235 miles into this one here, closing in 230 miles, I want to say.
200 exactly, X, right here at lap
Yeah,
80. Every
200
40
miles.
laps. Every 40 laps is 100 miles.
And you know what blows my mind, and a lot of people don't realize this, Chris. If you can have a long green flag run, this race can fly by
Yes.
quickly.
Yeah.
Last year's Indy 500, it was close to 90 some odd laps, 250 miles before the first caution of the Indy 500, the real event at Indianapolis last Memorial Day, before we started getting yellow flags, and then we were treated to that fantastic, crazy one-lap finish.
Buffoli now on pit road. You got Tier, Lynch, Robinson now on pit road here in lap 80 at this part of the race. But yeah, I mean, these guys running 39-second laps are on a 2.5-mile track. So, or I'm sorry, 41-second laps. Let's add 2 more seconds to that. So 41 seconds.
All right.
And what's that? 120. So you're running, what, about 2.5 minutes? I mean, you're able to fly through an hour really quickly.
Yes,
Basically,
sir.
when it's over with. I mean, we're an hour into this race right now. We're already 200 miles in.
And right now, let's give you your top 10. Christian Lawson, the leader. By the way, let's hold off on that. They're still making pit stops. We're seeing Mark
Right.
Schrader now coming off for the pit lane exit here. And you notice that this changes the complexion of the race. All the guys that were really, really fast, Chris, have now fell back into the mid-pack of the top 10, top 15. So Christian Lawson is now your new leader. Dylan Grimm is second. DJ Weeks is up to third. Johnny Eckert. Names that we haven't mentioned are now in the top 5. Oh, and by the way, there's lap traffic up ahead.
Yeah, this is where it all cycles out here, and this is where you got to play the game of traffic, because
Now they're pulling in.
Yep, you got cars that have pitted and still on the lead lap, because you can go pretty far to a run here and not get lapped, or pretty close to it. But then you got cars that have been lapped mixed into the pack with fresher tires, and this is where you got to be patient. And you just gotta get to that pit stop and not destroy your race. Easier said
Christian
than done.
Lawson, Dylan Grimm, DJ Weeks, Johnny Eckert now all on to the pit lane again.
Yeah, this
Pit
is your front
stops
four.
happening.
This is going to be your leader right here, Andrew Medlin, I think, as he comes through 3 and 4.
Is that the Valvoline colors?
It is the old little owl car.
Medlin in 12, but not. Don't look out your mirror, and don't look to the bottom. Here comes Graham and Eckert right there behind them. One wrong slip. Oh, Medlin could be in trouble. Medlin, Rickard, Moore.
So you see
as they're now climbing past the other cars on the bottom. They're on the blend line.
There's Lockshin right there coming off pit road. He's going to get up to speed. He's going to be the leader.
He might stay in the lead.
How about that?
He literally might stay in the lead, but here's the deal. Those cars real fast behind him, 5, 6 in a pack are better than 1. Can they run him down in the draft, or can Lockshin get up to speed in time? That's the question in the short shoot.
Yeah, here they come out of turn 4. They got the warmer tires. They've got the momentum. They've got the draft. And they're going to get to the back bumper of him, or bumper, here I am speaking stock car terms, the back wing of him, as Hale's going to go by for the lead here. So Lockshin holds into the top 3 here, so great pit stops there. And what they call in open wheel racing, the overcut, is where you run as long as you can, and you have a quick pit stop, and you do what they call the overcut, passing passing the cars that pitted earlier in the run. Of course, when you pit earlier, it's the undercut. When you pit later, it's the overcut.
Yes, sir. Yes, you can have an overcut instead of an undercut. And then you can have a middle cut. You just got to be in sequence when everybody gets pit.
Yeah, pretty much. That's just what passing people here.
That's right.
I'm trying to, as we're talking here, I've been kind of going through the highlights here on SDK, and I'm trying to find the pass that happened right before the Trey Jackson spin. Because there was a move that Zach Nelson made, or I'm sorry, Andrew Medlin made, that almost, and I don't do this often, I sit in a chair while I'm calling this race, as Medlin makes a move for the lead now. I almost stood up, because I'm like, you gotta be kidding me with this one, because we saw the 3-for-1 move that Hale made a little bit ago. It almost looked like in this situation, Medlin went 4-for-1. And if I could find it, I'm gonna bring it up here in the highlights. I think I actually have found it. Yep, there's Medlin.
You're the man.
Medlin here should be right in. Of course, this is easier said than done to pull off here, so forgive me if I get it wrong. So let's go here to Medlin, and let's watch this move right here.
Well,
okay,
you hit it dead. Well, no,
was
all
not
that
there.
hype.
Yeah, all that hype, I blew it. Samsonite, I was way off. For those who love Dumb and Dumber, you're welcome.
Oh, Swanson.
Right.
Yeah. I caught that badly. My apologies. I'm caught up in the races. Brian and Andrew Medlin goes back to the lead again up 14 spots. Look at him inside. Look at this move. Aaron Hale on the bottom. All year long in the Xfinity program, he drove a camel car.
Jimmy Spencer?
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Excitement had the camel Smoking Joe's car. And now he's back to the lead. The 15 for Aaron Hale.
And hopefully you guys are enjoying this broadcast here so far, enjoying the race itself. Is that a John Deere car on tier?
I think it is right there. What is that? In the 8th spot, I think it is.
It's either John Deere or Subway because it's got the similar colors. I can't tell. Subway. I was close. It is Subway. Eat fresh.
Yeah, had Subway last Sunday, as a matter of fact, on the way to Potomac in Maryland.
Ah, what's your go-to?
I'm a fan of the sweet onion chicken teriyaki, but I also like the chicken bacon ranch.
Gotcha. Eating healthy, I see. I go to the Boss, which is the meatball.
Oh yeah, wow,
you can't go wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I'll be honest with you, I'm more of a Jersey Mike's fan anyway.
Okay, fair enough.
Subway, me and Subway just, here's the deal. The dirt car racing officials hauler stopped at a gas station. They said, hey guys, this is where we're getting lunch. I had no choice but to get Subway. But if I had to choose, it would have been Jersey Mike's.
So let's get to know Wes here a little bit, because obviously, as you guys who watch me regularly or whatever, Wesley's coming over here helping us out here tonight. We appreciate him for doing this. But so talk about a little bit what you. It sounds like you do a lot of dirt broadcasting and stuff or something like that.
I do a lot of announcing, man. I've been announcing for 29 years. If you go to weslyoutland.com, you can find all the details and information. I've been on MAV TV, Racing America, Flow Racing, Dirt Vision. Yes, I do work for World Racing Group with Dirt Car. with the Modified Mafia Tour. I also am the national announcer for Fast Track. I work for multiple things through NASCAR Regional. Yeah, man, blessed. I have my own radio network, CRN Community Radio Network, and we cover football, basketball, baseball, softball, lacrosse. I've come to love over the years soccer. Man, I just love broadcasting. I love sports. I love all sports.
Very
but
nice.
my first is a fan of being of racing. Yes.
Nothing wrong with that. And for the viewers out there, you think I have something? Come on. Great job. That's awesome to hear, man. Wow. That's I'm like, man, listening to everything. I'm like, yep, heard of that. Yep. No, that's awesome, man. But, yeah, back to this battle here as now you're starting to see this lap car come back into play again as Talon Drake is trying to go Bill Elliott and make up 2 laps in a race, but he's got to make up 13, so that might be a little harder. But either way, he's going to go to the front of the pack here with Medlin and Hale. And how about this guy in third? Started all the way back in the 20th position. Speaking of Dumb and Dumber, Lloyd Moore.
I love it. I love the rides these cars have, no doubt. The fun we're having with this, man. Look at this. Hale under attack again. He's got Medlin. He's got Moore. All of this great racing going on. I think it's a lap machine that's up in front of the leaders.
Yep.
Fighting to stay on the tail end of the lead lap. And we're closing in, by the way, on 240 miles into this event. Halfway in 10 laps.
So now you really, as you see, this race has got that green flag rhythm in it. We've been green now for over 50 laps, 125 straight miles of green flag racing. We've gotten through a cycle of pit stops. As mentioned with the cloudy skies, the pack is back together, Wesley. And now we're looking at a situation here where you got to start thinking about lap 200. And you have to start thinking about backing up the race, kind of road course style here from 200. How far do I need to go to get to this lap so that I can make it to 200 in the lap beforehand? So I look at the latest lap anyone pitted is Lloyd Moore pitted at lap 82. He and Christian Lockshear pitted at 82. So let's do 35 laps. That's our number, it looks like here. 35 from 82 gets you to 117, which then gets you to, and I'm doing all this math off the top of my head, so correct me if I'm wrong, which gets me to, I believe, lap 152, which then gets you to lap 187. You're 13 laps short.
Yeah, like I told you, you're literally setting yourself between 3 to 5 pit stops. I would say they got to at least pit 3 more times, maybe 2 if you're lucky.
Which hopefully a lot of these people have apps that can show that. I know for me, I use SimRacer app, which I was using last week during a race, and I could peek over on my screen and see where if I did this number, I was going 3 stops. This number, I was going 2 stops to the finish of this race. As Casey Carrington, a.k.a. War in chat, says, I think that's called a Villeneuve. What did I say? It was a Villeneuve. As long as we don't pull a Schechter, we're good.
A Villeneuve.
You don't want to pull a
Villeneuve
Schechter.
Yeah,
Don't
Thomas
pull a Schechter.
That's some. We've got a guy in here called War talking about Jacques Villeneuve, and we got a guy talking about Thomas Schechter.
Oh,
You're talking
2 laps.
about the history of IndyCar.
He's talking about the 2-lap makeup. That's what he's with Villeneuve. See, the Schechter deal is the race at Indy where he led like the whole entire race, and then wrecks it at turn 4. Don't pull a Schechter.
Yeah, and what was it, J.R. Hildebrand too? Remember?
I was at that race.
Yeah, man, he hit the wall coming off of turn 4. Coming to the checkered flag. He had the race won. I was in the Miller Lite party deck in turn 4 when he did that. Oh, wow. Is that what they call the snake pit now?
Well, no. If you look, there's actually a building. You can actually see it here on the screen, too. The snake pit's over in turn 3. Then you go through the north chute over here, and there's a little building right off of where the road course turn 2 and 3 is. Yeah. And that's the Miller Lite party deck right there on the inside. Awesome. And as this big old huge person named Ndamukong Suh, who had just been drafted by the Detroit Lions, goes walking past me. Of course, I don't know that because I'm chugging waters because it's like 95 degrees that day. Oh, by the way, I'm drinking the obvious too, being on that deck. So, it was a fun day.
Oh, and by the way, I want to send a big shout out to my friend of IndyCar Radio, the voice of the Indy 500, Mark James. I just texted Mark James and I sent him the YouTube link. And he was telling me, dude, I'm enjoying this, Wesley, and you guys are making this virtual thing seem like it's all Sunday again. So put it on a good job. Thank you, Mark. I appreciate it, man.
I am no Mark. I am no Paul Page. I am none of them. That's obviously what I would love to do down the road, but I'm not one of them. I just do the best I can, but I appreciate Mark for spending time out of your busy schedule. I know you're getting ready to go up to downtown Detroit to call a race up there this weekend, and in that great event that has all of a sudden become a must-see in Detroit. And you know what? And speaking of Detroit, this is a good question I'm going to ask you, Wesley. I had somebody bring this up as once again for the umpteenth time. We're 3 wide for the lead as Hale goes to the front. If you had a choice,
halfway too.
Hypothetically, if stock car racing went to Michigan, NASCAR, and IndyCar went to Detroit, what would you choose at the same time?
Well, I would say this, as a fan of Michigan, when the Indy cars ran at Michigan, I would say bring the Indy car back to Michigan.
I miss that race.
I really would.
But I would almost go to Detroit.
I would, and I think that a Cup race on the Detroit road course could be something that could be entertaining.
Oh boy.
And I would say don't count that out. There's conversations after what we saw in the Chicago street race last year that they're wanting to expand. Hell, they're already talking about taking away a date away from Richmond. So what are they going to do to replace it?
Well, that could be Mexico City. That could be Canada.
Sure.
There's been those talks, but Detroit, that's a new one. That would be interesting to see that. But yeah, well, and it's funny you say that. I have a league on Wednesday night that I broadcast that has ran their truck series at Belle Isle multiple times.
There you go.
So it's been done in iRacing. Hey, we're coming up on halfway next time by. 2 laps
we
away.
We are, man. 5 miles away to the halfway mark of this one here.
And look how the field is. Oh, sorry.
Race, man.
Now, I was going to say, you see how the field is starting to spread out a little bit here a little bit. We're seeing, your top 5 kind of separating out by 1/10 to 2/10 to 4/10 of a second here. And then Tier and Rickard, who's, by the way, falling back to 7th now all of a sudden. Remember, he was up front the whole entire time. But Foley, I really think these guys are starting to think, lap 200, how do I get to it? Beginning of the race, let's have fun and pass. Now, how do I get to 200?
By the way, Mr. Lynch wanted me to pass this along as we're coming in on halfway. Chris, season 9 of the Stars and Stripes Racing League will officially be with the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series iRacing model, and it will begin on July 11th at Daytona.
Wyatt just kissed the wall a little bit there. July 11th at Daytona in the trucks. That's a fun package right there. And I know he's got somebody lined up, I believe, to broadcast that on Thursday nights. I know we had talked a little bit about it, but I already got some previous engagements lined up myself. These guys are so fun to be with. I've known Nate now for a couple of seasons, or for a couple of years, actually, through another series, and then he started up his league and stuff. And I've always told him, dude, just stay in contact with me. You're probably going to get a lot of no's because I'm a busy person, but it's going to open up. And I'll be there for you.
I appreciate, honestly, Chris, you invited me, or at least opening on the Captain Esports Network to be able to work with you here. We're coming up on halfway of this race, 100 laps down, 100 laps remaining, 250 miles into this one. But, like you said, I've followed these guys all year long. And when I found out that it wasn't going to be broadcast on LSR TV, I was a little disappointed because I was available. The producer wasn't. And then Lynch and I were talking about 3 weeks ago. Like you said, this wasn't something that just got thrown together, flown by night. We literally were in conversations at least a month before it led up to this race tonight. And I appreciate you letting me be able to work with you. And obviously, the Lynch and awesome people at Stars and Stripes Racing League. These cars are different than obviously what the Xfinity cars or the trucks will be in July. But this is a great bunch of drivers, and they're like a family for sure.
And this has been a great race already past the halfway point, as you mentioned. He's around with Jason Gratton, the helmet cam, as I like to call it. Down into turn 1 here, right down below that white line. You just kind of run that left front tire down there, let it drift to the wall. Turn 2 here is very hard. Some reason this corner, it likes to almost push your car out towards the outside wall here. And look at it, gets a slipstream here through the draft, checks up a little bit, which means he's saving fuel. Just kind of rides right here, about half throttle, 225-ish miles an hour into turn 3, the north chute of the track. There's the party deck to the left, by the way.
3 cautions.
Yeah, that's it.
If you're keeping up with your caution models, 3 yellow flags in the first 250 miles of this race. And you got to remember, too, now, Chris, now you're in the second half of the race. So the intensity and the aggressiveness, there's a lot more give and take in the first 250 miles Now you're really going to see patience wear off. You're going to see a lot of daring moves. This is when you literally have got to show what kind of car you've got. And I would probably say wait till about 50 to go or 40 to go. That last 100 miles of this race, this is when you really need to start putting your chess pieces and pawns in play to declare checkmate on the field.
Especially when, Aaron Hale's going to come to pit road right here. Lap number 104.
Yep.
Here comes Hale to pit road for pit stops. And I was just about to say, the biggest thing that's on the line here tonight, there's money on the line here tonight.
Oh, yes.
The winner gets $100 for winning this race. Sign me up for that one as Hale comes to pit road. But to win it, you got to get to the finish. The old finish first. You got a first finish mantra comes into play here.
The bragging rights of wanting to win this. And everybody that I spoke to all said the same thing. They were like, Wesley, you know, this is our all-star race. And honestly, it is. There's no points on the line tonight, Chris. We've got new driver names that are on the Stars and Stripes roster that we haven't seen or in the years past that I've looked at statistically. They come annually to this event. Driving an open-wheel Indy car is a completely different animal in the fendered car, virtual or reality. So, again, this is bragging rights in its finest form for the Stars and Stripes Racing League. You want to be the winner of this annual Memorial 500.
Aaron Thomas, to answer your question, I believe it is a fixed setup league. I know they're running fixed setups here, obviously in the open wheel car.
Yes,
you might be able to answer that, West. Yeah, fixed setup.
It is. Yes, sir. Yep.
Yes, so fixed setup cars and trucks in this case coming up here in August for the series. But appreciate the question as always here. But yeah, 106 laps. This is the race that you want to win. You get to the end, it's like, all right, you've raced hard in these stock cars to get to where you are at this point. And now it's like, all right, let's switch it up. Let's get into these space shuttles. Again, reference Clint Boyer. And get out here, run for 500 miles and try to win the greatest spectacle in e-racing or iRacing, whatever you want to call it here at this track. But hey, I'm starting to notice it get a little brighter outside. Am I seeing a little bit of the sun peeking through the clouds? That could change things here a little bit if he makes an appearance.
Yes, if the sun comes out, it could really, really obviously shadow the cars on the racetrack, but it's also going to warm up the track temps too. You can really see the sun starting to glisten down the front straightaway across the yard of bricks here at the 2.5 mile Indianapolis. But yeah, it's now warming up too. Track temp is up now to close to 90-something degrees, 90 degrees, 90 plus. And then of course the overcast conditions are now seeing the sun poke back out through the clouds, and the temperature has got to around 67 degrees. So we'll keep an eye on that as you're on board with more right there in the 7th spot, watching all this going on. And any moment now, between lap 110 to 115, you're going to see guys transition onto the pit lane.
Right now, Andrew Medlin coming in, Scott Rickard coming in, and to add to your point right there about the weather too, that could be spreading this pack apart. Is that temp going up a little bit, less grip in the track, could be putting more of the handling. You got to work that weight jacker, work the bars to get yourself in the right setting here. So, that's an interesting way of sliding her in there.
And they say it's all fair in love and war. Indianapolis Motor Speedway is a 2.5 mile, 4.023 kilometer rectangular oval track known as the world's greatest race course, as my friend Mark James of IndyCar Radio always calls it. 2 5/8 mile straightaways, short chutes, of course, 5/8 mile straightaways. Turns 1, 2, 3, and 4 are 1/4 mile, banked between 9 to 12 degrees. The short chutes are 2 1/8 mile short straightaways, known in the corners of 1, 2, and 3, and 4. And obviously, it is a very wide racing surface. Man, you can go 4 wide, you can go 5 wide. Hell, you can go 6 wide if you're brave enough.
You go back to the Freedom 100 race.
Yes, sir.
2000, man, I'm going to get this year wrong, probably 18? I want to say 17, 18, 19, somewhere in there where they had the 3 or 4 wide finish coming across the line. I mean, it's almost like watching the Mazda Miatas at Daytona in February or January when they get ready for the 24-hour race.
This road course is width-wise 50 feet on the straightaway, 60 feet in the turns, meaning there's more width in the corners than there is on the straightaway. But you can still stick it 6 wide if you're brave enough. 660 feet long to be exact on the straightaways.
As Dylan Grimm takes the lead here, and I've had the honor to being able to drive my car out on this track. I did some radio in Kokomo for a little bit. And also
wow, Kokomo.
Yep,
yeah.
Kokomo right there at the Speedway there. Never got to go to the Speedway, unfortunately, but did some radio there in Lafayette, and before, unfortunately, some things happened, and now we'll get that story later. But got to do the pit stop challenge when they held that a few years ago for media members and stuff, and got to drive on a track. You feel that banking when I'm driving at the time in a Kia Forte going around the track, and I'm like, ooh, I can feel the pull of the car and something like that's interesting. Yeah, no, it's been a and there's a reason why I came. One of the many reasons why I've come back to Indiana. Unfortunately, not doing any kind of media stuff right now, but other than this, but to be here now in the Fort Wayne area, but to be right up here, right by the Speedway again, is really cool, and I'm gonna get back to that track again someday soon. As Lloyd Moore's on pit road now, Hammond, Fish, as we get to that next cycle of pit stops right here.
Yeah, pit stops going on here as we are closing in on, over 80 laps to go, 88 to be exact here in this event, with now Jonathan Thier as the new leader, Grimm the second, Losh in third, single file. That's the way it is right now as they work their way back around to the short chute into turn number 3 and 4. More cars onto the pit lane. Here comes more pit stops. They're happening.
Yeah, Lloyd Moore on pit road here as we watch off turn 4. Anybody going to hang a left? There they go. Andrew Hess is going to come to pit road. And yes, he's in the Hess machine. If only he had to switch to turn the lights on like you did back in the day with that truck. That was one of the coolest things when I was a kid, was just I never had a Hess truck myself. But anytime you had somebody that had one, just to go over there and hit the switch and watch their lights turn on, was like the coolest thing in the world.
Yes, always enjoyed it, looking at all these beautiful looking race cars for sure, and watching all of the talent that we're watching here on the server doing what they're doing as we're closing in on 115 laps into the and just past the halfway mark. And believe it or not, we're already closing in on 300 miles into this race.
More cars to pit road. Here's Shane Wyatt, who had that damage earlier. Brian Lynch locks it down. You got to get to 60 miles an hour. And for those who, again, I use the stock car comparison here, pit road's different on this circuit because, believe it or not, on the NASCAR side, pit road entry is all the way down at the end of the wall because there's not 43 cars. In an Indy car race, there's always 33, as you know. Basically, they are able to shave off a little bit of the pit road entry to give these cars more time to slow down coming on the pit road, coming from 220 miles an hour coming out of the corners. To get down to 60 by pit entry like this right here. There's pit road entry right there. So you got almost, 7 stalls right there that you have a chance to slow down before you get to pit speed, where at stock cars, it's back at the end of the wall there.
You're exactly right. And by the way, Chris, you can get busted. I think you mentioned it a minute ago. You can get busted for a speeding penalty. That can happen to you.
Don't do what Larson did.
You do not want to make these mistakes. No, you don't. You don't. You want to know a reason why Larson got taken out of the game last Sunday was because of that mistake, even though he fought to get back in it. Look at what happened to him. That costly mistake, and obviously the hiccup on the restart too. But the biggest thing was the mistake on pit road when he got busted for speeding. Which, by the way, to this day, there's still people that I've spoke with. I'm understanding one of the head people of IndyCar in timing and scoring resigned after the race on Monday because they still said they didn't agree where he was busted for speeding. They couldn't find it.
I've heard that story.
They couldn't find it.
I didn't know if that was like a clickbait type of thing online, or
no,
if that was
sir, it's true.
Wow,
it's true.
No way. That's crazy to think about. Now, correct. Here's where I got a friend of mine, Gary Godso, would be perfect right here in this moment. Didn't Scott Dixon lose an Indy 500 for speeding on pit road in the last pit stop?
Yes, 3 years ago, wasn't it? I believe it was. Mark James, if you're listening, if you want to chime into the chat box, but please respond. But he might, I don't know if he's still listening anymore or not. poor Mark. He's not these. He will tell you.
He's
he
busy.
Is one of those guys that if he cuts on something, he watches a little bit of it and he got to cut it off. He used to tell me he used to get a headache playing video games. So obviously, imagine trying to watch this for a solid couple of hours, right? But no, I want to say it was 2021 or 22. Scott Dixon got busted for a speeding penalty, and it took him out of the game to win the Indy 500. You're right. Yes, sir. Yeah.
Well, hopefully they don't make that same mistake here. 118 laps complete, about to hit the 120 mark. Christian Lokshin, remember, he was one of those last cars to pit. He is the only one who has not pitted from that lap 82 pit stop here. And you do the math, 37 laps on a tank of fuel here. He's about to come to lap 38. He's going to be on pit road here any minute. As Dylan Grimm, DJ Weeks on pit road here. So Lokshin's, again, trying to make this as short of a distance as he can. Now, here's a number for you. If he can get 5 more laps out of this, probably impossible, but if he can get 5 laps out of this, it becomes a 2-stop race for him.
You're exactly right.
And here he comes right now.
And remember, they're going to have to pit again, so this is going to be the penultimate stop of the race for him right now, coming onto pit lane. Yes, Aaron Thomas and will agree, it was in 2022. It was the year of, after the year Elio Castroneves won the Indy 500. What was that, 2021?
Right.
I think it was. So the year after, that was when it happened to him. Yes, sir. Yep.
Wow. All right, Lokshin comes to pit road right at 120. He went 38 laps. I hate to say this, it might actually still be a 2-stopper for him.
Yeah, I don't know if he can go the distance. He might have to come in around lap 1. I don't know.
It's going to be like
185?
No, 179-ish, yeah, somewhere in that range, yeah.
Okay, we're somewhere in this distance of about 5 off, so.
Now, there will be a pit stop between there, too. So, because he'll have to get to about lap 1. He'll probably get to about lap 148. Or, I'm sorry, 158. And then,
and I'm going to tell you something else, too, Chris. All this green flag racing we're seeing right now, all you're doing is getting the field spread out. Mm-hmm. And you're spreading out the field on the track map that I'm looking at in front of me, thanks to what you got on SDK. But here's the deal. If you're looking at them on the track map, there are a couple of cars sporadically by themselves, but then there's also groups like this right here with the leads coming off of turn 4. They're all in packs, but they're all separated from one another, except there's a storm brewing right here up in the front.
Yikes, yikes, yikes. I had turned my mic off for a split second so you didn't hear the typing as I was doing there, as I was looking up something really quickly, and you watched the battle here up at the front. But back here in the second pack, we saw 3 wide racing going into turn 1, and that's being led by the lap car, believe it or not, of Kyle McCoy, who's still trying to get himself back on the lead lap after his issues there, running 3rd early in this race. We got put in the turn 1 wall.
Oh boy, 80 laps to go now. As if you're doing the math, we're on lap 120 times 2.5 miles, 300 miles into this race. Lap 160 will be 400 miles, and then we're down to that final century grind to lap 200. There is 1 attempt at overtime. Am I right? Ain't that what you said?
Yes, they did put 1 attempt in their green-white checker, and yes, I know that's as anybody who watches IndyCar racing, they don't get that. But you got to remember, this league again is not an IndyCar series. They are doing this as a special event. So
right.
You can give them a break here for a second. Let them have a pass.
But can I say something, though? I'm so glad that iRacing and IndyCar were able to come back together and bring them back, because if you don't remember, I think it was last year or 2 years ago, they partnered with it. What an absolute waste of time for the IndyCar in the series. And there was lawsuits filed, and there was people that definitely got cheated out of money and salaries, and nonetheless, if you remember, it dissolved a relationship with IndyCar and iRacing, Chris. We were literally told, and it was crazy, this contract, and even myself, that's the reason why I didn't call IndyCar races anymore, open wheel racing for that matter, because they put a stop to it.
Yeah, they cut everything off.
You couldn't promote it. You couldn't run the Indy. You couldn't run the car. You couldn't say anything in regards to IndyCar, or you were suffer a lawsuit. That's how desperate these people were. They were a bunch of crooks, snakes, and parasites. Obviously, they finally went belly up, and IndyCar licked their wounds. Nice way of saying it here. and said, iRacing, we messed up. Can we come back to the #1 motorsport simulation of the world? And luckily, they opened arms and let him come back last summer.
Yep, no, you said 100% correctly there. I was one that was very disappointed by it because I was actually covering an IndyCar series on the weekends at that point, and I had to turn to him and say, I can't do anything anymore. And from that point, I actually never touched an Indy car on iRacing or an open wheel car, let's call it at that point.
Yes.
Up until about a month ago. I literally jumped in the car again and about won a race. The first race out, I'm running in Legacy Pocono and ran out of fuel off turn 3 to win a fixed race. And I'm like, oh, here we go. That's a good way to break back into the car. But yeah, no, you said it perfectly there. It was an unfortunate situation. One that I'm sure somebody's regretting back when they think back to it, but it is what it is. And can't confirm, Aaron Thomas confirmed it, I went and confirmed it. It was 2022 where Scott Dixon was leading, coming to the final stop and sped on pit road. And the year before that, he led 111 laps before a late race caution cost him the win.
Yeah, that's exactly how it went down. Like you said, we were both all in agreement there with what just took place. So, yeah, man.
So let's go through the field here as Andrew Medlin leads this race by all of 1/10 of a second over Aaron Hale. Scott Rickard in the 3rd position, and then there's a lap car, and that lap car there is somebody who led some laps earlier, Zachary Nelson, who had pit road issues. He's there behind them. Then it's 4 seconds back to the train, and it's led by the subway machine of Jonathan Tier in the 4th position there as he gets passed by Buffoli. Those two need to work on doing the swap. And for those who don't know what that is basically where you draft each other each straightaway and you pass each other. It's almost like if you remembered Mario Kart on Nintendo 64, not the Super Nintendo, better version, but the N64 version, you had to draft with each other in order to stay fast. That's kind of what they need to do here, and you're seeing it right now. And speed-wise, they're running about as fast as the leaders are right now, so they got to keep working at it. But obviously those are your top 5. And Dylan Grimm 6th. Christian Lokshin is now in the 7th position. Shane Wyatt 8th. Lloyd Moore 9th. Jason Gratton is in the top 10. And then Andrew Hess running 11th. Josh Robinson, haven't said his name all night. That is him in another version of a Valvoline car, running 12th. The boss man Nate Lynch running in 13th back here. He's in the Bitcoin mobile. DJ Weeks 14th right now as Mark Schrader comes to pit road. Weeks is, these guys back here are some 11 seconds back from the lead. Johnny Eckert in the 90 car running 15th. Brian Burchett is 16th. And then there's the Yellow Submarine. He's still out there going. He's on the lead lap, but unfortunately for Trey Jackson, he needs a little help from a yellow handkerchief to get back up there. He is in 18th right now. Schrader on pit road, and everybody else is laps down. Derek Offerman in the Home Depot car, Greg Hammond, Brian Lynch, Kyle McCoy, Siegel, and Fish. Of course, Siegel will long be known probably in this league as the guy that went straight driven mode on the front straightaway in the one of the first cautions of the day, as he went flying, a good 30 feet, I would say, probably from turn 4 to the front straightaway.
He got the hang time award of the Memorial 500.
So
for
yeah,
sure.
That's where we sit right now at 129 laps into this race, and it's just going to get crazier and crazier as we go here.
You're already approaching about 350 miles into this thing, dude. It's flying by fairly quickly, as you aforementioned. As things settle down, single file, Hell up in front again. Aaron Hell, the leader. Medlin in second. Again, you've scattered everyone around the racetrack. They're littered around the 2.5 mile in different packs, different groups. I'm looking on my track map, Chris, and I see at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 packs or 8 different sections around the racetrack. If you looked at the track map right now for our audience, you could literally see there's cars in some shape or form in a pack or single file around this racetrack. And as I aforementioned, this is just going with 70 to go, change the complexion of this race, because we're now getting ready to move into the sequence of the money stop. For some, for others, it might be 2 more pit stops that they've got to make. But for the most part, if we do not get a caution flag, you're looking at the longest run of the race, And in addition to that, it is still stretching the distance of the interval out on the pack.
I want to take a look here really quickly. It's just for those watching on the broadcast, taking a look at the laps here of when everybody came to pit road. And I'm looking at the top 8 here. You see everybody pitted at 20 under caution, 44 under caution, and then from there, we've been green ever since. So we're almost working on 90 laps here of green flag racing. And I look at Medlin, who went 31 laps after going 33 laps. Rickard went 31 laps and then went 33. Buffoli went 33 and then went another 36. As one car turns left, he comes to pit road here. So I'm just trying to figure out the average number here of when these guys. It's like very tough here. I'm almost got to play shout out to the great Jan Beekes, who was called Professor back in the day. Had to figure out the lap numbers of when they were coming to pit road. As by the way, that's Zach Nelson, the lap car that came to pit road there. Trying to figure out what lap. I mean, obviously, the optimal number, we'll put it out there, is lap 142. No, I'm sorry. Let me do the math again. 162 would get you 38 laps.
Yes.
38 special. There you go. There's my rock.
And you and I both know, hold on loosely, for sure.
Well
and
done.
You and I both know as well that there's some guys that are in sequence that they're not going to be able to go to the distance. And because of that, these long green flag runs is forcing these drivers to use up their tanks a lot faster as well.
Yeah, and these guys right here, these guys are kind of got it made right now. They're hanging in the pack here, and ironically, we got a Hess car in the draft here saving fuel. But otherwise, I mean, these guys here can save fuel. They're in the window right now to make it on one stop or 2 stops, because they'll pit here. Like if they were to pit right now, 134, all you got to do is go 34 laps to get to that 168 mark, which is 32 laps. So to get to 38, it's 162. You only got to go 28 laps. So the window's open right now to come to pit road for 1 stop. Tyler Pluff's doing the math for me over here. Appreciate Tyler doing this. He seems like the guys that pit last at 122 will be able to make it to 196 or 197, which is exactly right. So if they could find a way to get 1 extra lap, maybe they could potentially do a Rossi 100th Indy 500, and he literally crawled to the start-finish line to win the race.
I would say I'm literally let's see here. Okay, look at this. Aaron Hale's on pit road.
Damn.
Aaron Hale just gave up 3rd.
So he's on
pit lane on lap 134, 135. So he is literally going to be down to probably about lap 180, 85. He's going to have to pit again.
Yes, so 64 laps to go this time by, so 32 and 32. That's all he has to do. 1 stop, go 32 laps, which is easily done. Probably just run fuel map 3 and just ride, and you can do 32 laps on a tank of fuel.
Right. Inside, Medlin is the leader. Rickard 2nd. Thier 3rd. Buffoli, all these drivers holding on to their spots, Chris, as we're closing in on the final laps of the virtual iRacing Indy 500, and we got a battle for the lead. 4 cars into turn 1.
Medlin and Rickard, I think they're doing the swap right now, is what they are doing. They have, I know we last talked about this a minute ago, that pack from 1st to 2nd to 3rd was 4 seconds. It is now 7 seconds, pretty much from 2nd to 3rd. So these two, as you see Medlin back to the inside, they're doing the swap. Meanwhile, the 2 behind them, these 2 lap cars, they're just hanging out. They're saving fuel behind the 2 that are doing the swap. So what that's telling me, Wesley, is that these 2 are probably running fuel map 1 up front. These others are probably running map 3 back here and not as fast. That's why they're falling back, even though they're doing the swap in 3rd. But this is the proper way to do the swap for those who are learning how to do this for this weekend. You go down the straightaway here, you get the run, you back off a little bit if you're the 2nd place car, and then you get the run down the straightaway here, and you make the move going into the corner. Do not do it middle. Do not go doing it in the short chute. Down the straightaway here into the corners, how you do it.
Snaking around these corners as well, as they're all single file. And you know you're closing in on these guys to pit in here any moment as we're closing in on lap 140. Less than 20 laps to 400 miles in the home stretch of this race now, Chris.
Yeah, 138 coming up in the books here. Let's see, 62 to go. And the more these guys go, obviously it becomes a one-stop race for everybody here. From this point, it's still 2 stops. So you got to pit one more time after this. Let me verify that one-stop move. If you have a tank that can do 60 laps at Indianapolis, I want to see that fuel tank. Lloyd Moore running up here in the pack. There's Buffoli as these guys continue to do the swap. And see right here, that's not how you do it. Tier stays to the outside. That's not how, they just lost a lot of time doing that right there. There's your difference. Look, it opens up the draft for the car behind him in 5th. Slingshot, 2-for-1 move. Buy one, get one free. Blue light special if you want to go old Kmart reference. You have to make the move on the entrance of the corner in order to gain speed. But again, to defend these guys, they don't do this often. This is a once a year throw in the IndyCar thing.
It certainly is, Wesley. I'm sorry, it certainly is, Chris.
It's okay, Chris.
Right now we're watching all this going on. I had somebody else texting me in regards to some roster information. My apologies. But we're watching these guys working in off the corner out of 4. You look now at Scott Rickard. He's the leader, but for how long? There's that pack. Alex Buffoli, Dylan Grimm, Jonathan Thier. They are right there with one another. And this racing action, no doubt, is going to get more intense as we move down into the latter stages of this race.
I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now. I think these guys are taking themselves out of the race by doing what they're doing. They are almost not giving up the positions when they're trying to do the swap. See, Grimm gets by for second now because Scott Rickard's on pit road. Here he comes at lap 140. So these guys are just going to do 30 lap runs here, 30 and 30, and get to the finish of this race. But as long as these guys cannot figure out the whole passing trick, they are not going to catch the pack here. So right now it's coming down to a 2-horse race. But Rickard to pit road here, you just cannot make the mistake here on pit road. You cannot have that Scott Dixon move, the Kyle Larson move, which I guess becomes a questionable one now, hearing what I've heard.
Working 350 miles into this race. Dylan Grimm is now the new leader. Drivers are coming onto the pit lane here. We've started seeing them coming on between lap 125, lap 135, 139, 141. Ooh. Now lap 142 is on the board, and you see these guys now starting to fight for the lead. It's Grimm on the inside of Buffoli.
As Grimm got right there behind that car of Buffoli, who just took the lead here, as you mentioned, in the red, black, and white car. I see green on the nose, but I don't see green on the nose of his car, so I don't know if he's got a different colored wing here in this race. That's what it looks like here. But you see Buffoli and these guys trying to do the swap as they're just trying to do whatever they can to lead this pack of cars. Of course, you got Tier right back there riding with Lockshin, who's led a lot of this race. Back here in the 4th position. Lloyd Moore in the 5th position. Who else is in this pack? You got Gratton, Jason Gratton. You got Shane Wyatt. You got Hess. You got Josh Robinson, who's hanging out in this pack. And the other Valvoline car, haven't said really his name, and Nate Lynch, Johnny Eckert, all... Well, actually, I'm sorry. Let me back that up. Nate Lynch is not in this pack. He and Eckert are back a couple seconds here.
Well, and you can just see that watching these cars up on the back stretch now. Look at them on the inside. Buffoli just trying to find a line on the bottom. Grimm, all this happening for position as they work their way back around the racetrack. I mean, look at all these cars racing hard. By the way, we're closing in on 400 miles in this race. You've still got, for the most part, 15 cars on the lead lap, but there's 26 still out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, there's still plenty of cars out here. Obviously, with that reset, that has helped them out tonight. The only car I'm seeing who's not logging laps is Talon Drake, who's finally gone behind the wall. I'm not sure if he's had connection issues or something with his pit stops, but pretty much from the start of the race, he has had issues tonight as 2 by 2 into turn 3 they go. You wonder, my only thing I can think right now that's going on in this pack is they're just running their tank out, hoping for a yellow. Because if they're able to do that, especially the longer they go, they might force the cars that were leading, Hale and Rickard, to come to pit road to get tires. As here comes Lloyd Moore to pit road. That's the only thing I can think of here is they're just going to run their tank out as far as they can and hope for a yellow. Or they could, I guess, potentially short fill too. That's another option here because the lighter the fuel in this car, unlike the stock car, the faster it goes because it's lighter.
Yes, you're exactly right. And right now, seeing these drivers working their way back around the racetrack one more time, closing in on 150 laps. We're working on the 3/4 mark of this race, and we're just over 350 miles into this one. Here comes now the subway machine. Thier's on pit lane. He gives up a spot in 7th and 8th spot.
Yep, Burchett on pit road there in the all-black ride as they come to pit road. As Thier is in for 4 cookies and a drink and gas. You'll forgive me, I come up with different like terminologies for tires when it comes to, I try to reference the sponsor in it. Subway, you get the cookies. So there you go, 4 cookies. Which, by the way, Subway cookies are awesome. More
yes,
cars.
I'm a fan of the Subway cookies, the white macadamia nut cookies.
Can't go wrong with those.
Yes.
Chocolate chip, yep. Either or. I always go for when I get the sub, it's sub and cookies. You can hold the chips. I can eat those anytime. Buffoli, Grattan, I should say, Eckert and Lynch all on pit road here. This is lap 148, so 52 laps to go here. And for these guys...
Do you have a way, Chris, to show the track map to our audience that's watching on Captain Esports Network?
There you go.
If you don't mind, please do. Everybody that's watching the track map, if you could look and see what I was referring to, is we got a little tire shake, guys checking up coming onto the pit lane, but look at that track map, and if you're looking at it on the broadcast, you can literally see the what I was referring to all around the racetrack right now, Chris. Look at this in sequence. Even though we're seeing guys pitting, they're all scattered around the 2.5 mile world's greatest virtual race course. And with these pit stops, you're throwing everyone else off on where they were, all packed up together. You're hoping you can get back on track. You're hoping when you get off the blend line, you can be with more cars. Look at these guys right here on the exit. So you see them exiting off pit road. 2, 3, 4 is better than 1.
Yeah.
But the problem is these guys are scattered all over this racetrack. This race is about strategy yearly. And this is exactly what we're seeing set up here for the Stars and Stripes Memorial Indy 500 as well.
As Lockshin comes to pit road now, as he's usually the last one to come to pit road, and once again, he's going to be that guy. So where is the leader on the map right now? Shane Wyatt's a 27 car. He is up here going into turn 3 in the north chute of the track. The leader is going to be the 05 here once Wyatt comes to pit road, and the 05, as I look around here on the map, is going to be where the 12 is, right over here in turn 1 and 2.
There's Lawson.
And here comes Lawson through the short chute here.
Remember, just like in the car racing world, if you
Caution!
will, like sim racer,
Lloyd Moore.
that changes everything. Wow.
Lloyd, and the subway car's gone
Thier's
flying.
crashed.
Oh, no.
Lloyd Moore and Jonathan Thier have crashed. And this changes everything.
You know who just might have caught a break here? Did he stop? He did not stop. He might have stopped for fuel. Shane Wyatt was on pit road when this happened.
Yes.
I don't know if he stopped or not, but this just definitely helped out somebody like...
Was that Thier Airborne? That's our buddy Thier Airborne, the subway machine.
Yeah.
We got a replay coming for you
Here it
on
is.
Captain Esports Network, and look at this, Chris. Oh my! This is the caution that we needed to really bunch everybody back up again.
Oh, he got into him.
Map now. Whoa! He's airborne into the fence. Oh my!
So it looked like just got tight there. You wonder if he got out of the throttle, because one thing about these cars we should mention too is if you get out of the throttle mid-corner, that's where you get the understeer more than going into the corner. If you go into the corner and let off on the straightaway, usually the car will turn. It's when you go into the corner, which I think happens here. Watch Thier, he's going to push up into Lloyd there, right there, the contact. And then he just go, wow.
I'm going to tell you, if this was a real accident, the AMR IndyCar safety team would be flying to the Thier car immediately, no doubt. That was such a hard hit into the retaining fence. Let's go on board with Thier.
Parental guidance
Boy,
advised.
this is going to be interesting, isn't it?
Yes. And ironically, the car he hit his top flight on it. He went over top and flew.
Oh boy, remember that guy from the in the parachute in Vegas on the movie Hangover? I believe I Can Fly.
Oh jeez.
Yeah. Oh my.
So
cue up Ken Jeong's voice and play that at the same time.
It's funny.
So,
oh my gosh, Hangover movies.
I believe I can fly.
Oh.
Hey, Chris, in other news, in the Great Walter Cronkite, that's the way it was, and that's the way it is, and how it shall be. This changes everything, right? I mean, you're closing in on 3/4 complete. You're hitting the 100 mile remaining mark. We're closing in on 400 miles of this race. Like literally, what is it? Less than 125 miles to go, if that.
Yeah.
And dude, like literally, all these cars are now going to be bunched up tighter than the lid on a pickle jar. You literally have put yourself right back into a changing sequence of events. Could we see guys pit now? And I think we just did. These guys, I think, can go to the rest of the race, but they're going to have to find a way to conserve. If they can go to the distance, they're going to have to find a way to save tires and fuel.
They're going to need some yellows.
I got a feeling we're going to see yellow flags after this. By the way, 4th caution of the race.
Yeah, we're going to need some yellows, I think, for that to happen, because we're at 152 right now to go 48 laps. But, my friend, you made a joke and you left a slam dunk wide open for me. By you talking about this pack's going to be tighter than a pickle jar, with the lid on a pickle jar, you've just made this a big deal. I'm just saying. It is a big deal.
Yeah.
Anyways.
Is that one of your lines? Do you say that a lot?
Kinda. I mean, it's not mine. I mean, I'm sure I stole it from somebody because I don't ever have anything myself. Come on.
I got you.
But yeah, so it looks like Andrew Medlin, Aaron Hale, 7th place on down. Scott Rickard, Eckert, Grattan, all these guys came in for fuel and probably a set of tires, Firestone tires. Now, Grimm, Lotion, obviously Hess, these guys who are going to be the top 6, all but Greg Hammond. Greg Hammond, I don't know if this is right or not. It says he pitted at lap 125. Which means he's going to be pitting in the next 10 laps.
He's going to have to. He's got no choice.
Now,
and by the way, Kyle McCoy hasn't pitted since lap 124.
You know what?
Lap 131 for Zachary Nelson.
I like this Hammond strategy right now. Here's why. 125, if he goes roughly, if he could find a way to get 10 laps out of this, that's 163. You're at 37 laps. If he can get 10 laps out of this rod, it's a one-stop race for him to the finish. And he pits early, short pits, and could undercut this field. Going to be tough.
It is. And like we said, Chris, this is why people love the greatest spectacle in racing all year round. This is why a lot of people love open wheel racing as compared to what NASCAR has become, because this race every year is a strategy gamble. You've got to find a way for everything to be in sync. You've got to find a way to conserve. You've got to be on different pit strategies than others. Or if you're literally, as we come back to the green flag, we are at the point of the race now where it's every man for themselves. So we got another wreck.
Medlin.
Oh, no. Big trouble. Big crash. And Medlin is the car with the biggest damage to boot.
Medlin, who's led a lot of laps and looked like might have been on his way to a victory here, has just wiped out along with, looks like Jackson maybe with some damage, Sam Siegel.
Big trouble. Jason Grattan, DJ Weeks, Alex Buffoli, Andrew Medlin, as we aforementioned, Trey Jackson, Sam Siegel, all involved.
Let's see what happens.
And you have got them virtually scattered, smothered, and covered in the short chute on the restart into turn 1. Look at this. Yeah. Oh, man, it was just a chain reaction of something going on wrong here.
Oh, you're not clear.
No. And look at everybody else. Bonsai checkup move, and they're still crashing.
There was your submarine through the grass.
Yeah.
Yeah, that all pretty much started with a checkup. And unfortunately, Medlin trying to clear himself to the bottom. And for that happening, unfortunately,
It's a little too aggressive. Watch this. And listen, I get it. But look at this. There's got to be room here. And that guy did not give room to Medlin.
Let me show you this too now. Let's put this out there. With single file restarts in IndyCar racing, it is not one of those where the leaders get the front and the lap cars go to the back here.
That's right.
Siegel is an actual lap car. He is running 25th, obviously multiple laps down, but where he is.
That's Sam Siegel,
that
the
was
55.
Siegel.
Yes, that's Sam Siegel. Yep.
So I wonder if Siegel might have been trying to yield here to get Medlin in line. It just didn't work out here. So I could see somebody like Siegel just kind of moves down here, lets these guys go, but he's trying to get the speed himself, and bam, there you go.
This is what we talk about open wheel racing being a completely different animal, virtual or reality. You notice right there when Siegel hit the left rear of Medlin's tire, the big rear tire, around he went. And it's just like that in real life. If tires touch tires, you've got to crash.
Yep.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it, for sure. Yes.
And that brings more cars to pit road here. Shane Wyatt, Johnny Eckert, and Hammond's now
McCoy's
on pit road.
in.
Yep, McCoy.
Remember the guys that ain't pitted around till lap 125, 130. McCoy and others are on pit road here now.
And McCoy's on the lead lap now.
Yes.
Which, by the way, let's mention this too. Again, the stock car rules involved here because this is more of a stock car league running Indy cars. There is a lucky dog. So,
yes.
And around goes Medlin, who's trying to get back to pit road.
Did he just get hit by somebody?
He looks like some drivers maybe have just left. I can't think of any place right now off the top of my head inside of Indianapolis other than, oh my gosh, Champs down there in the mall. That was a fun place to eat every time I went to Indianapolis. Right there in the Circle Center Mall. I don't know if it's still there or not. I haven't been there in years. All right, so now
I'm trying. I'm sorry. What is the word? I'm having a brain fart. Part of the pun.
Welcome
but
to
I'm
the club.
trying to think of what you're referring to.
Well, him spinning out looks like some
well.
drivers in Indianapolis on a Saturday night, maybe. You know.
Yeah. Right there near St. Elmo's.
There you go.
Steakhouse. Oh my God.
I mean, that was the layup right there. St. Elmo's. How did I forget that one?
Oh yes. Oh yeah. And then where was the other one? So you've kind of been from Indy as well. So what is it? The bowling alley? That's the bar bowling alley. You know what I'm talking about?
Unfortunately, I don't know that one.
Oh yeah. So when we go to Indianapolis or PRI, there's all the clubs. You know, there's St. Elmo's and there's the fancy bar that's right there on Main Street, the Irish pub. Well, if you go like another block over, there is like literally a bowling alley that is a bar.
I need
it's
to go
a
here.
club.
I need
it's
to,
a club.
I need to check this place out.
Bowling alley bar. Yes.
Huh.
Oh, and they got the lights and all that cool stuff, the retro lights and yeah, it's really fun. Yeah.
So Tyler Pluff has reached out here in chat just now saying, anyone good to stretch at 42 laps? I'm going to put that out right now as a no, but, big but here. If we keep wrecking, then it becomes a possibility.
Yeah, we'll have to watch this. And obviously cautions, precautions. And by the way, we've seen this. We saw this in the long green flag run of the race. Now we've had, 5 caution flags now?
Yep.
In the event, 2 consecutively back-to-back, under 50 laps to go. Closing in on that final 100 miles. This is the true test right here. This is the true test to make it here to the end. Can you, and I'll say something else as well, being under caution as well, Chris, as we get ready for the restart. More guys are pulling onto the pit lane, but as we get ready for a restart here, this also allows guys to save fuel as well.
Shane Wyatt's that car that came to pit road as we go to the green. I want to see if that's a penalty or if that's a strategy move right there on his part. Now, one thing I will point out is Grim leads Hess here. These guys up front, the front 4, there's no way they're making it on fuel because those guys pitted at lap 146. They've already got 12 laps or so on fuels. One guy needs some blinker fluid as he's blinking a little bit there on the outside lane. That, I believe, is the top flight car. Now, the cars behind them all pitted here, 151, 155, so their strategy's everywhere right now, but I still think they're short by a long shot. As Wyatt
Leading
long
on to
pit
pit
stop.
road. Yes, sir. Here we go.
Yeah, Wyatt looks like it was a penalty or something because he's been in his pit stop for 28 seconds now. Brian Lynch on pit road, so is Siegel, so let the race begin inside. Here comes Hess.
It's go time. It's go time right now, man. On like Donkey Kong, as they say, right?
Time to get it.
Yes, sir. Get it and get it good. Look at Lawson, man. Christian Lawson at one time, I would have really said he's going to be my pick to win this race. And obviously, there you go. SC probably just jinxed the hell out of him.
Good job.
But, dude, I am so impressed with Lawson and the drive he's had. He really didn't have a good year with the Xfinity car in the Stars and Stripes Racing League. But, dude, his genius appears in these open wheel cars. And another guy, Dylan Grimm, Andrew Hess, these are guys that either were caught up in accidents or were lapped down throughout the regular season. These guys are fighting for the win here in Indy in these rides.
Let's add Josh. Yeah, Josh Robinson. Add him to the list. He was way back. Nate Lynch is up here now. These guys were mid-pack the whole entire race. And one car scrapes the wall back there. It looks like he's okay. But yeah, Lockshin, going back to that comment, I mean, he was easily my pick probably to win this race as he was leading laps and then got caught up in that middle pack as the pit stops were happening. Somebody's blinking really good right now. But now he's got a chance to get back in here in all these cars. If you're in it, you can win it. Being on the lead lap of this Indy 500. Virtually on iRacing.
Yes, that's the way it rolls right now. With Graham, Hess, Lynch, Robinson, Hale, top five. That's the way you watch him, Hal. Shaking it down here at Indy. Look at him work their way. Oh, a little blinking nod. Got to watch that.
Blinker fluid for that guy.
Look at this. For 100 miles left in the Indy 500 for the Stars and Stripes Racing League, the Memorial 500. And look at this, man. Here we go. Everybody is all stacked up.
Yikes!
Like sardines flying into turn number one.
Who made that late move?
Snaking.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but Johnny Ecker just dove. Late move in that.
Oh!
Yikes!
Contact, 3 wide, up the middle. Grimm is there. Here comes now the black and orange machine. Is that Hess? Hess is fighting for the lead and the win. Nate Lynch, where did Nate Lynch come from? He's trying to fight for the lead.
Especially, contact there.
Whoa.
You know what? I'm going to let you call the race here for a minute. Go ahead.
Three wide, man. 3x3, look at this, up the racetrack. It's Andrew Hess now to the lead. Eckert, Lynch, Grattan. Here's names, Chris, that are up in the front for the win that we've not even called all night long. Remember what I told you about? You want to be up in the front. You don't want to be in the snakes patch in the middle. You want to be in the back. And now this strategy has moved these new names to the front of the pack here. It's go time. This is when it's getting good here.
All right, caution out.
Love it. Nowhere into caution again. I was wondering what happened.
I saw the 7 of Kyle McCoy get the wall, and then I saw one car blinking out. And I wonder if that's the caution, because I don't see anybody spun out anywhere.
This is the 6th yellow flag of the race, by the way. 6th caution as the iRacing safety car catches the field.
Looks like Nate Lynch actually went off track. Oh, Nate Lynch, there's your caution.
Yep, there it is. Nate Lynch is the problem. And Derek Offerman, they're also saying, has went off track too. Look at the damage on this car. Crab walking for Lynch. And this is heartbreaking for Nate Lynch, guys.
Oh.
He was just one of the guys fighting for the win up in front. Did you see that?
Yeah, he was the one blinking out that I saw go to the infield.
Oh, man.
Yeah, Nate having some bad connection issues all of a sudden here. So that brings the caution out here. So for Nate Lynch.
It's the dreaded announcer jinx, Chris. We literally were saying, look at Lynch, man. He's flying through the field. He's up in the front. He's fighting for the win. And then, damn, he's in the safer barrier.
I tend to do that to people sometimes.
Oh, man. I mean, you literally see him blinking out, and he's flashing in and crashing and all that good stuff.
Here we go. Pit stops with 36 to go. Here's your window.
This is your money stop. This is your money stop right here. If everybody is smart, which it looks like they, for the most part, are, everyone's coming down on pit road here, and I'm telling you, Chris, this puts everybody back in sequence with each other here now.
No, I agree 100% here. Let's see. So we do have some cars that stayed out that probably feel like they're not going to be able to make it that far. But everybody else here topping off the tanks or taking tires. So here's what we are going to do. I'm going to give Wesley a chance to catch his breath here for a second. I'm going to catch my breath for a second here and get ready for the finish of this race here. So we're going to mute our mics for just a quick second. We'll call it a picture-in-picture break with just one picture, I guess. But anyways, we'll be right back. All right, back we are here at Indianapolis. We've got our drinks and popcorn and whatever else we need to get to the lap 200 mark as Johnny Eckert, who stayed out here under this caution, leads them to the green. 34 laps to go. The front three cars did not pit and are well short on fuel.
And Johnny Eckert found the go fast pedal too, man. He launches from the field. So does Heston Weeks. It's like a law firm in the top three. The other drivers are losing ground. Look at this behind the leaders.
Something.
They're antsy. 3 and 4 wide. Chris, we talked about it, and it's go time. Remember, I don't know which one is which. They're all dark colored cars.
You got one red car, one white and blue car. There's a reason why I put the names on the screen for the viewers so they could see who's who. I don't even know who's who, to be honest with you. So, but either way, green is out, 168 complete, and the top three have driven away. Top two are out to a 2-second lead already. Lynch and Schrader on pit road.
We have, Chris, we have a time and scoring.
Somebody's in the wall.
Track map and crashing into the wall.
Let's see.
Hold on to it, buddy. Is that the 94?
It is the 33 of Burchett.
30, Burchett. 33, that's Brian Burchett, free falling again, all the way back to 15th, 16th or more.
Looks like his car's okay. I mean, I saw him hit the wall, and I thought I saw his wing fly, but it looks like it pop back into place as DJ Weeks to the lead.
These drivers that are in the top 3, okay, including also the driver of Alex Buffoli, Buffoli, who pitted on lap 151. These other guys were on 155 for Weeks, 148 for Hess as he goes to the lead. And with that being said, these drivers, Weeks, Eckert, 155, unless we do not get a caution, they're going to have to pit. They're going to have to pit. I'm thinking it up in my head. I'm trying to calculate things here. Chris, I just don't see it's possible that they can go to the distance. But with that said, behind the leaders, Aaron Hale, Andrew Medlin, by the way, back in the game. Remember the fast repair for the Valvoline Unser car. They're climbing. They can go to the finish of this race with 165 laps the last time they pitted.
I'm going to throw a little asterisk in there. They got to stay in the draft if they're going to make it 36 laps.
Very true. Very true. Yes.
So
if cautions come out, it would be in their favor.
Yes.
Let me say that much.
That's fair. I agree with that 100%. But they're coming back together. That pack is coming back together really quickly here. You're seeing those cars that pitted there at that caution. Those guys, I think, are in better shape here. Like you said, when it comes to making it potentially on fuel. Hess, Weeks, and Hale, or Hess and Weeks, I should say. Those two, I'm over here scratching my head a little bit. Because I'm like, I don't know if I stay out here other than to maybe get track position and stay out front. That's the only thing I can think of any advantage here.
Hess, Hale, Weeks, Eckert, Medlin, top 5. Another scenario to throw out for these guys is they're all high climbers. Hess up 16 spots. Hale up 8. 12 spots for Eckert. Medlin 10. And now look at them right here at the home stretch, closing in on 50 miles remaining. 60 miles to be exact. Right here, working off the corner. It's go time. And I know Aaron Hale knows it.
Hale leading there, and here comes Hess to the bottom in that Hess car. DJ Weeks, haven't said his name pretty much all night. He is in the 3rd position. Oof.
Yeah, the beautiful winding green machine there.
Johnny Eckert. If I remember this Johnny Eckert correctly, now somebody's name, like, let's put it like this. 90% of this league, I don't know at all. But I remember Johnny Eckert's name from a couple years ago, and if I remember correctly, he's a character.
Well, I'll be honest with you, Chris. Johnny Eckert did not run the series this year.
Okay.
Neither did DJ Weeks. Neither did Alex Buffoli. Neither did guys like Greg Hammond. I'm Jonathan Thier. These are names, Lloyd Moore. New names that did not run in the Stars and Stripes Racing League. However, the invitation was given where you could be able to run if you signed up to be in this event, and those are some of those things we're looking here now. But hey, look, they're putting on a hell of a show. Hale now back to the inside. Aaron Hale all year long, you remember him in the number 4 Camel car when he ran in the Xfinity Series, and now Hale is the man that's up in front here now.
Aaron's going to try to put on a hell of a show, if you will.
Pardon the pun.
I had to do it. I mean, it was like a home run sitting right out there again for me.
Open the door, kick it in. Hale, Hess, Weeks, Eckert, Medlin. Right now, your top 5. Look at them try to go 3 wide. If Weeks can get in there, closing in on 25 to go here at Indy.
Who's watching the stream right now? Give me a pick. Who do you think is going to win this running of the Stars and Stripes Indianapolis 500 virtually on iRacing? 1 of 4 nights in a row that you're going to be watching IndyCar, Indy 500 racing here on the Captain Esports Network. Of course, one of those 4 nights will be actually me racing in it. But the other 3, you'll get to watch the 2 top splits, one on Sunday afternoon at 1 o'clock, the other one tomorrow night, 9 Eastern. And you're going to see the top names of open-wheel drivers racing. But tonight, you're seeing these guys. I mean, they're doing their best reenaction of the top names of IndyCar racing. These guys are doing phenomenal. What a great race this has been. As Weeks goes to the front in that 97 car.
Oh, boy, what a fun time, no doubt, as they work their way back across the line. Closing in. 25 laps to go. Hess, Weeks, Eckert. Look who's also there. Man, remember how strong Andrew Medlin's car was right there. The Valvoline Unser number 12. He is climbing. Before he had that crash, he was right there in the pack. And as we go to the latter stages, boy, these guys keep fighting 3 wide for the lead, snaking one another through the short chute of the racetrack. Put Medlin right there in the catbird seat. He's ready to pounce on him like a coiled cobra to the line, lap 176.
A lot of snake references there. But yeah, 5th position, you mentioned after getting that damage fixed. Boone Lobchow, I believe is the name. Forgive me if I get that wrong. Says his teammate's Christian Lotion. And it's kind of funny he said that. And I look back here in the 14th position. And look who's riding. He does have some right front damage to a wing. But he's out here riding, just kind of hanging out. Lotion. Might be a little out of it now with that wing damage. But if anything can happen, obviously, from that point. But appreciate you, Boone, for watching on the stream tonight. Hit that subscribe button. And if you haven't, and for the viewers watching for the first time tonight, appreciate you coming and joining us here on the Captain Esports Network as we continue to play Swap the Lead.
Yeah, looking at some of the comments. Thank you, Aaron Thomas. T-Bluff, loving the broadcast. Great duo in the booth with Chris and Wesley. Thank you, sir. I do appreciate that. Aaron Thomas definitely being interactive. Thank you, everybody. Yep. Who you riding with? Who you picking? Who you going with? My teammate Christian Lawson, rest in peace. Or does he mean rip? It's time to rip it, right? It's time to rip the lip.
I think he's saying rip because he just realized that he has no right front wing. So.
Oh, yeah, R.I.P. Hold on there. Lawson right there is in 14th. Last car on the lead lap. And remember, if you get a fast repair, we saw drivers use a fast repair. Basically, that allows you to get your car back to 100% perfect configuration.
Hey.
But if you wreck and you lose a wing, you lose a rear wing, a front wing, a side ring, a wheel pops off, whatever, you're pretty much done it out of it. Right now, Lostjan, he was talented earlier. He's now back with the wing gone in the rear in 14th on the lead lap.
Look who's sneaking into play here. We're riding on board with him.
Is that Offerman?
Offerman, who was in the first wreck earlier tonight, was laps down and now is up in the top 10. He's just been kind of laying back and just riding. And now all of a sudden, the cream rises to the top, and he's got that Home Depot car riding. 1 position, 2 positions, 3.
Oh, yeah.
Keep trying.
The cream rises to the top. All right, Macho Man, let's see what you got, Offerman. Look at this, guys. 2x2 there for a second.
I was trying to debate if you were doing the Macho Man there, or were you doing Fred Sanford for a second?
No. Yeah, I do know who's Fred. I know
Fred
Sanford.
Hey, Elizabeth, the big one.
Cue up the theme song, man. The big one, Elizabeth. It's the big one. Coming to join you, honey. And if we have a big one, oh, they're pitting. Look at this. These are the guys that we told you about. On 151, 153, and 155, they had to pit. Remember what I told you? They had no choice, Chris. They had to pit.
Did Foley? I'm trying to. One of them. There's 3 cars stayed out. 4 cars are on pit road. Somebody here was able to make it.
Buffoli pitted with him. It looks like. The other guys were around lap 153 to 155.
So
Buffoli was 164. Now he's going for the undercut on these other leaders is what he's doing here, Chris.
Yeah,
that's what he's doing.
Pulling the conservative move here and making sure he goes to the finish. Because remember what we have sitting at the end of this race if a yellow comes out. We have a green-white checker. Oh, 1 car in the grass. Dylan Grimm with a great save. No,
everything.
We stay green.
No yellow though. We stay green.
Yeah, he did a what's his name there? Santino Ferrucci just now in turn 1.
I was about to say also, what's his face? Alex Bowman drove in the grass in the Coke 600 on literally drove and passed
somebody
in the grass. Is it William Byron? Yes, it was. I'm sorry, William Byron. Yeah,
he had a legit pass in the grass on like 87.
Yeah, he literally drove through the grass. He did.
Ooh. Well, now we're starting to see the snake break out. Look who's leading. The Shark is up front.
Wow.
Remember he was a lap down.
In the pit lane?
Yeah.
Crashed in the pits, got a lap down. Here I am.
This is the benefit of the having the reset. You get a chance at you get forgiven for making a mistake or whatever. And all these cars up front, I mean, Nelson, Medlin, Offerman, all three of them cars were involved in a wreck of some kind tonight. And they're your top three. How about Jason Grafton?
Thing, right?
Yeah, right. Jason Grafton, the 5th position. He was wrecked earlier in this race. DJ Weeks, 39.82, just ran the fastest lap of the race back there as he just come off pit road.
460 miles next lap of the race in the Indy 500 Stars and Stripes Memorial event. Boy, and if you're a fan of the Captain Esports Network, you're going to be a fan of IndyCar racing, what, tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday.
Man, some of the names that we are seeing that have qualified on that top split side of things, you're going to see them all. I mean, one I'm hoping to see tomorrow is a guy that I've actually called, and we talk about this, by the way, of nobody's won the real Indy 500 3 years in a row. This guy's won a league race 3 in a row at Indianapolis. The name of Alex Van de Sande.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yes.
As Nelson just backed off of the top side here.
He's saving fuel, guys.
He sure
I'm
is.
telling you, this is what he's doing. He's got no choice in the matter. Remember when we told you these guys needed another caution flag, because if they didn't get a yellow flag, they're either going to have to fall back in the draft, as you said, Chris, or they need a yellow flag to try to save fuel. They're not getting that right now. He's worried. He's worried and put Medlin, the unsurviving 12, back to the lead at Indy on lap 185.
I'll tell you right now, if I am any of these cars that are trying to save fuel, I'm not getting in this mess.
Oh my goodness, look at this. 4 and 5 wide.
Hey, it looks like the start of the Indy 500 all over again.
And Medlin now falling back. Aaron Hale, looks like, goes back to the lead again. Boy, Medlin's fell way back. Look at this. No, that's his teammate car. There's 2 cars that look the same.
Scott Rickard hanging in his pack. He's led laps here. Trey uh-oh. Look who's back here, 9th.
Here comes the yellow submarine.
Yeah, I'll probably get copyrighted for that. Oh, well.
Coming back to the field. Or is the other guy up in front, the yellow submarine?
Well, the far back car, if you look in the back of the shot there, that's the yellow submarine hanging back there riding. There's the subway submarine.
Yes. Eat fresh.
Which I guess technically a sub is short for a submarine in terminology. But anyways, in case nobody knew that about a sandwich, which please don't start that debate on chat. I mention the word sandwich in chat. Usually it turns into the hot dog question, and then we get into interesting talks all of a sudden.
Boy, it's go time here, man. Boy, this has been fun. Can you believe 2.5 hours? And we're now at the end of this one here. 187. It's not over yet, though, by the way. It's not done yet.
No, we still got plenty of laps. So the question I have here, over under, for those who have not kept track, which is all of us, unless you actually have a statistician book sitting out there in your room right now, keeping track. Over under 65 lead changes.
65 lead changes in the race so far?
Yes.
Amazing.
I'm guessing. No, I'm throwing that number out. What do you think? Over, under?
Oh, I would at least...
We're guessing here. We don't know. And that's at the start-finish line, by the way.
I would say roughly 65 to 70.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
As Offerman just made the lead change. So here he goes to the front. We'll see at the end of the race. We'll get our number when it's over with, and I'll share exactly how many there were. But Offerman to the front past Hale. Medlin third. Grimm there in fourth. You got a couple of lap cars up ahead here. That could play a role here, as now you start to see maybe the handling coming into play, maybe the fuel save, because these cars that, oh, by the way, were 3 and 4 wide just now, are now single file and riding. 11 to go.
189 on the board. Time to put your poker face on and know when to hold them, when to fold them, and put a royal flush here at Indy on the field. Look at him. Got a wonder now. Andrew Medlin in the pack. That's saving fuel. Let's go on board with him, guys, on the number 12. He's in 4th position right now. For those watching on Captain Esports, there it is. Look at him in 6th gear. Can you imagine right now what he's going through? Got a car to the left of me. Jokers to the right. That's the retaining wall. He's got guys in front of him and somehow fighting the dirty air to stay in line, stay in speed also. Don't lose your speed, but he's also trying to conserve. Look at that. Look at them lights, right? The lights. The lower he goes, the less RPMs and revving he's using. When he's in the red, he's giving it all he's got, going past cars. Gotta love it.
Yeah, he's just riding, basically just trying to put himself in a clean spot. See the pack of cars there behind him. I try to have some technology.
360 camera right there here at Indy. And 10 laps to go for the Memorial 500.
Oh, who's this making a move? That's the 8 car. That's Gratton, Gratton, I should say.
Going, whoa, boy.
Rickard about stuck her in there.
Oh, my. All of this going on. Just hold your breath. I just love the sound of these cars.
I'm just sitting here like I become a fan at this point in the race, and I catch myself. People are like, sometimes you don't talk a lot. I'm like, that's because I'm just watching, being a fan.
Sometimes you just have to just
enjoy the moment.
Enjoy the moment, and those roar of those cars. I don't know if you have any of those speed shot cams or not. But if you do, hey, let's rest our voice for a minute. Take a listen to the roar of these cars down the stretch.
I think we
enjoy it, baby.
We call that turn it up on the Captain Esports Network.
Time to turn it up. Turn it up on Captain Esports. Seven laps to go. Oh, man, I love that cam right there. That reminds me of Chris. That reminds me of the Digger cam back in the day.
Nice. Good callback. That camera was awesome. I remember when, it's funny, they're going to Iowa Speedway in 2 weeks and still trying to figure out why they paved part of Turn 1 and 2. I guess it's part to do with a tunnel, but they made that track look very weird now. If you remember when Iowa first came out, they actually had cameras at the track surface. And that was when they were running in real life. But of course, now the track's kind of worn out, and again, get used to that part of the track. They repaved basically 1 and 2 because of the tunnel. Instead of patching up like the bumps, they just decided, hey, let's lay down a grip strip. But Jason Gratton up to the front here, 6 laps to go. Dylan Grimm second, Derek Offerman third, Rickard and Medlin your top 5. Greg Hammond is up in here now. Oh, by the way, they gotta make it on fuel still. Let's not forget that part. They have to go 36 laps here, and they're trying to win this race.
On fumes, might I add. So you want to talk about another gamble into the complexion of the way this race could turn out for the Stars and Stripes Memorial Indy 500. It is also a fuel mileage gamble. We saw Medlin fall out of line. There you see him again right now. What is he, back to 7th and 8th?
Medlin about just wrecked.
When does he pull? When does he pull out of line, though? That's the question. He's in 5th now. When does he pull out of line? You got guys that are lap machines, I think, in front of the leaders.
He's got to go now. He's got to go now. I mean, first things first, he about wrecked off turn 2 a second ago as he was doing a little wheel save here. It's 4 laps to go. Yeah, you got lap cars in front. The leader is not the first car in line here. The leader is right here, second car in line, as he's about to get passed on the outside as Dylan Grimm and Scott Rickard.
Gratton.
Yeah.
Jason Gratton is the leader. As you mentioned, those other guys up in the front are lap machines. I want to say it's Christian Lawson as well as Shane Wyatt. drivers, by the way, that were up in the front earlier, Chris. 3 to go as they work off the short chute coming to turn number 4.
Out of the north end of the track into turn 4 to the start-finish line. 3 laps to go. And I remind you, there is a green-white checker in this race. As 3 wide and what a late move by Medlin.
Oh, what a move. Look at this. Medlin knows. Medlin knows it's go time. He's got to punch the button as there's almost contact on the outside. Oh, hold on. Grimm, Medlin, Offerman. One wrong slip and you've got trouble. Here they come to the inside. 3 wide. Lap traffic in front of the leaders. This is awesome here in Indy. Coming to 2 to go. Penultimate lap of the race off turn 4.
This is getting wild here. You got to wonder, do the lap cars get out of the way here eventually, or do they run in here? Because technically they're racing for position. 2 of them are. As we come to 2 laps to go, 5 miles. Grafton still your leader.
Oh, boy, hold your breath.
No kidding.
Man, oh, man. Medlin's right there. One wrong slip, and he's got him. It looks like some of the lap machines are stuck on the outside lane. Lawson in front of this battle. There's Sis Gratton, the leader. He was the leader. Now Dylan Grimm goes to the lead. Grimm up high. There you see him. 2 lap cars up in the way. There's Medlin trying to go 2 for 1. As
they're wrecking.
Big crash, big crash, big crash. Airborne. 3 cars flying through the air. Red flag. Caution out. It's Gratton. It's Hammond. It's Offerman. And we go to overtime, and the Memorial 500 is not done at Indy.
That was wicked.
Wow.
Wow. And remember
What
that
a crash. That was my Kristen Airy moment.
Remember that Kristen Airy. Wow, good callback. Is he still doing Pacer stuff?
He is the voice of the Indiana Pacers. As a matter of fact,
awesome.
They lost the playoff game the night before the Indy 500.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah. Here's a replay. And you want to talk about the wreck that we saw earlier? This takes the cake right here.
Oh, by
Look
far.
at this.
I mean,
Oh, my
Offerman, that
goodness.
poor guy, he almost flew out of the track. Oh, wow. 3 wide,
Look
4
at this.
wide.
Just
Oh,
a
wow.
lot of tires shake, a lot of touching.
Catapult.
No fenders there, and you're up in the air. Look at them continuing to fly. Let's go on board with the orange car, man. This is going to be fun.
We're going to go
Who
more
is
with
this?
It's Offerman in the orange car.
Is that Greg Hammond or Offerman? There you go. Let's go on board with Offerman.
Here we
Oh, this
go.
will be fun. This will be fun. Take a listen. We're going to rest our voice, too. Listen to this. Oh, my God. I need some melatonin. I got a headache.
I don't know we're got to vote which one's worse here because the other car involved here.
Oh, wow.
I think got it worse here. Let's go roll bar here.
Hammond. This is Hammond. Oh, boy.
Hey, remember that green white checker thing, by the way?
Yeah.
Guess
Here
what
it
we
comes.
have? Oh, God.
The good news is the virtual AMR safety team was able to get to all of the drivers. They're able to hit the escape button, and they will live to iRace another day.
By the way, the virtual AMR safety team being the spouses of these drivers if they're in the same room. Oh, my gosh. All right. So,
Overtime, right?
yeah.
And everybody has just pitted except for the guys in the top 3. Dylan Graham, Andrew Medlin, Scott Rickard did not pit.
I like that move, and here's why. It's the only green-white checker. It's the only
That's
one.
right.
If a caution comes out, game, set, match.
The race is over.
Game
That's right.
blouses, whatever you want to call it. Oh, my gosh. It's been phenomenal.
Been a pleasure. Chris. Thanks for letting me join you here tonight.
No, absolutely. My pleasure. And I appreciate you stepping in to want to do this and stuff. I mean, Nate said, hey, he wants to join me. I'm like, okay. But, hey, I'm learning that Eckert, Hess, Buffoli, and Weeks are all in a team together, which you might know that, but I didn't.
No, these are drivers, like I told you.
Yeah.
They don't run regularly on the Stars and Stripes Racing League. I've not seen these names all year.
Ooh, Rickard's now coming to pit road.
They got no choice.
Wait a minute. They should be coming to 1 to go here, so I would have pitted last time by. If they're 1 to go here, Yes,
Yes, it is.
They just
Holy
lost
cow.
track
Boy,
position.
they just put themselves in a big hole.
I wonder
My goodness.
I wonder if Rickard thought that maybe he could save enough fuel under caution.
Rickard gives up the spot. You have now Dylan Grimm and Andrew Medlin.
Can they make it?
That's the question. The $1 million question here.
Look who's third.
Boy, oh boy.
The yellow submarine is third.
I love it. He's our Scott McLaughlin of the Memorial Stars and Stripes Indy 500. Look at this thing, man. I love it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy, oh boy. By the way, if you don't know, the yellow submarine is the colors, of course, of Rick Mears, four-time Indy 500 winner.
Yep. And that's
four-time winners club. What is that? Elio Castroneves, Rick Mears,
AJ Foyt, and
AJ Foyt.
Bobby Untz, or Alan Senior. Sorry, I said Bobby
There
Untz.
you go. Yeah. Elio Castroneves trying to go for the 5-time.
Elio's going to drive 2 races coming up starting this weekend. He's going to.
I saw that.
Bloomquist, they've kind of parked to. He's getting the need I say the Stenhouse NASCAR treatment.
Yes.
A couple years ago, when Roush said, "Hey, you need to go sit aside for a little bit and watch."
Yep.
All right, here we go. 2 laps to go. They need to get back to
5 miles.
the. Yeah, they got to get back to the white flag. If they can do that, this race is on. Otherwise, this race is over. Grimm gets to lead him to the green here. Fuel map 1 for everybody, I think. And let's go. Here we go.
This is it. 5 miles in overtime.
Contact. There they go.
That's it. That's it. They're crashing.
They're still
Caution
green.
is out. It's over.
Now the caution is out.
Oh, there it is. It's over, guys. Good wrecking, and they're still wrecking. And Dylan Grimm is going to win.
Wow.
Dylan Grimm, the shark is wrecked over there. Many cars are crashed. This track is littered. Cars upside down again. They're still crashing. Dylan Grimm's going to win the 2024 edition of the Stars and Stripes Racing League Indy Memorial 500.
Oh, the yellow submarine out. Yep.
Dylan Grimm. I think this is his first win of the year on the Stars and Stripes Racing League because he's really struggled in the car all year.
Well, he picked a good one to win.
Sure as heck did.
Let's make sure this white flag waves. Yep, there it is. Final lap. So, yep, white flag.
They will make at least one more lap under caution. The pace car is going to be catching them.
We'll have a moment here while let's watch what all took place here because it was mayhem.
You know what was going to happen. And honestly, I think Grimm
out
and
pit
Medlin
road.
both knew that. Look, yeah.
What
Is
was
that
that?
Lawson that launched into the pit? Look at
Oh
this
my
crazy
gosh.
crash. Holy hell. Andrew Hess.
The safest place to watch this race might have been on TV.
Whenever you drive a Firestone, but make sure it's not wobbly. Watch this again.
There's a
Oh, my.
couple of Ford jokes in there I don't want to say.
Who was the car that launched? It's Lawson. It's Christian Lawson that launched into the pit lane. Let's go on board with him.
Hey, did he call his pit before he did it?
He said park it. Watch this again.
Yeah, this will be a good view right here. Watch this.
Oh, this is going to be a hell of an angle.
Coming to
Look
you.
at this. Whoa. Oh, my. You guys, you little people, you need to be paying attention over there.
Oh, this is here's the best part of this whole thing. Lockshin's in the number 3 car, right? Look at the pit stall right here. He's right here. That's his pit stall.
He's right in his pit stall. Look at that. Oh, that's awesome. I'm about to say the S-bomb. I'm sorry. Look at this. Look at this. Somebody queue up Big and Rich. We're coming to your city in the pits. Look at that.
By the way, Dylan Grimm officially has taken the checkered flag and has won the Indy 500 here for the Stars and Stripes League. Oh, my gosh.
Dylan Grimm. How about Andrew Medlin? How about him? He was smart, wasn't he? The Valvoline colors in second.
Shane
he survived
White,
the race.
Shane White had all types of issues, not finishes 3rd.
Boy, oh boy, what a humdinger.
Yeah, according to chat, sounds like maybe some people were watching the lights instead of the car in front of them. Of course, you can't go into the car in front of you. It goes, technically. Let's watch again. So there's all that action. And then down here in the... looks like Takuma Sato all over again here is what I'm seeing.
Yes.
Who's the car that went to the? I
Oh,
think
boy,
that's
oh, boy.
was that. Dude, let me look for the car. I know who it is. It is.
Talking about the green and purple one, the
that-
Dax car.
The pink car right here next to the yellow submarine is. Yeah, I thought I knew it, but apparently I don't. So I see that Johnny Eckert. That's who it is.
Johnny Eckert, yeah. He's the one that pitted, remember? He had no choice but to pit.
Yeah. And
He
here
was climbing through the field, but he just got wrecked. Look at this.
he goes Sato on the inside of the yellow
Oh,
submarine.
him and the submarine got together.
And then this car goes
Let's go on
tumble.
board with him. This should be fun. Let's go on board with Eckert.
Let's do it.
By the way, this race is over. We're just reliving the crashes of the finish of the Memorial 500. Johnny Eckert on board with him. Take a listen.
Oh, well, difference there, Sato spun himself. He got hit.
Boy, oh, boy. Oh, wow.
Who's the other car?
Mobile
over there?
1 car is upside down, 80. The Mobile 1 car.
There's Jackson. Hale's got damage. I mean, there's mayhem everywhere here.
That's Bafali. Look at this. And there's, wow.
Here you go.
Hey, let's go on board with him. That's the one I was about to say. Hell yeah. This is the final crash of the what's this?
Let me back it up a little bit.
Oh.
Lockshin. Now,
Coming to the restart for overtime. Take a listen to this.
the sarcastic me wants to ask, did he actually call his pit out here before going to it?
There's a lot of buttons flashing.
Right in his pit stall.
He about hooked the landing, didn't he?
Actually, you know where he landed? Go back to that 1973 pace car deal. That's over where that
exactly
grandstand
right.
is, right over there.
That's exactly right.
Oh,
Wow.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, Dylan, congratulations to him.
Whew.
That was
We got
fun.
post race coming up.
Yeah.
Post race presented by Verizon coming up here for these guys, and we'll grab them here.
Question is,
Oh,
what chat
man.
are they in? Well, Shane's over here in the, I don't know.
Well, let's see. It looks like we got Andrew Medlin,
Okay, Medlin's here.
and we're trying to find.
All right, I
Oh,
know by
boy,
the
oh, boy.
photo, Medlin's the one that I was talking about before. I thought it was, I was trying to
Billy
remember
Grimm and
which.
Shane Wyatt.
I was
That's what
trying to
we're
remember
find.
which driver it was that I remember was like really funny to talk to. It was Mr. Medlin.
Oh,
who
there's-
it was.
There's no way that was me.
Dude,
But hey,
it
boys,
was.
how you doing tonight?
Who knows? Hey, dude,
Andrew, you know where Dylan and Shane are, buddy? Can you grab them? Can you put them in? Call them in the comms and try to get them in here.
They should. Give me 1 second,
yeah,
boys.
we're gonna let
Thank you,
Medlin
thank
go.
you, buddy.
They're lost in the pagoda somewhere.
Do we have commercial breaks now, or we don't have commercials? This is
I
flag to flag, commercial free on the Captain Esports Network.
That's how we roll here. I'm literally the one man show with no
I'm used
spot
to a
breaks. We don't.
caution. I'm used to a caution. We're gonna take a break, like our sponsors. Nope, we're going flag to flag, brother.
That's how we roll here. It's
It was fun though. It was fun. for
40.
sure.
Here, how about this? We'll talk about 40 Racewear. Get your gloves and shoes for 40 Racewear, and say hi to Jim Herrick. Check out 40racewear.com. By the way, those shoes,
There you go.
if you've never seen them before, they're like wrestling shoes, but they're for your feet and they're for iRacing. Perfect.
Oh, cool.
Oh, yeah, they're great. As,
So,
all right, we got
while we
two
are
of them.
trying to grab, I think we got 2 out of 3. So we need to get Wyatt. I think we got the winner. We've got Medlin. I think Medlin is trying to work on grabbing.
Shane's over in the
Mr.
other.
Shane Wyatt.
He's over in the Indy chat here, over in the Indy 500 chats where he is. Worst case scenario, I'll jump to that chat and go talk to him if I have to. But let's go ahead. You know what, Wyatt? You want to talk to Andrew?
We can.
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's grab the winner of the race here, and
Or you want Dylan? Okay, we'll get Dylan.
Dylan. The winner, Dylan. Congratulations, man. Dude, I said this, and I say it in no disrespect. Normally you struggle in the Xfinity car. What is it about the open wheel car that worked good for you and the strategy of this race? And I'm being told now we have all top
Yep,
3
they're all
for the
here.
podium for post race. So I gotta ask you, Dylan, what's the difference between the open wheel car and the fendered car? And dude, congratulations on this big win.
Oh, thank you, man. Yeah, I don't even know. I bought this car 2 days ago.
Yes.
I've been running. I ran a few practice laps, but nothing crazy. And
Right.
I don't know. I just kind of got the hang of it. Learned how the fuel saving and the different engine modes work.
Golf clap. All right.
And Yeah, this is incredible.
Well, you did a great job, obviously, in the race. Talk about the strategy, because obviously the fuel. I mean, you got to figure out fuel mileage trying to get to the finish. Who's going to try to go where? You, of course, came to pit road at lap 164, which was 36 to go. You get these couple cautions. Some cars come to pit road. You and Andrew decide to stay out here. Was this part of the, you know what, they might wreck and we might not get to the white flag, and let's just play that game?
Yeah, it definitely was a little bit. I had about a lap left, even with all those cautions of fuel
Wow.
by the end. So those cautions definitely saved me. But yeah, the whole race I was trying to calculate the fuel, what would be the best laps to pit. And I thought that there'd be some cautions and that we could end up making it by pitting the last time that we did. And it worked out, barely, but it worked out.
So the question I have, go ahead, Wes.
No, I was going to say this, the strategy. When did the strategy change to put yourself in the spot to go for the win? Because I'm looking back now at telemetry, and it looked like you were kind of hanging back most of this race. I kind of hinted on that with Chris on the broadcast about you need to kind of play possum, stay out of the big wreck, stay out of trouble. And then when do you hit the go button, and when did you do that?
I didn't hit the go button very much. Right at
Makes
the
sense.
end, of course. And then
Wow.
I think it was before I pitted 2 times ago, if that makes sense. I was going because at that point I saw I had to pit twice to make it to the end, so I just went. But then then I pitted, and then the caution came after that. And then I stayed out a little bit, and we got a later caution, and yeah, very lucky with the cautions, and yeah, saved enough gas, barely.
Well, great job tonight, man. Obviously, you win 100 smackaroos in that car. Let me just kind of throw a personal note out there. What area do you live in?
I live in Colorado.
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 All right.
Yep.
So I don't know what any famous food places is out there. I was going to say you're buying dinner tonight.
Absolutely, I am. We got Bojo's Pizza. That's my favorite place.
Hey, I'm good for a pie anytime.
Yeah. Might go for a splurge there. We'll see.
Attaboy.
Hey, Dylan, and in closing, bud, please thank your sponsors.
Yeah.
But, man, I got to say as well, this has got to be a good lid lifter for you going into the offseason, getting ready for July to try to have a good program with the trucks when they come back for season 9.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been a couple of years now that I haven't won in the Stars and Stripes league, so this will definitely boost my confidence a lot. I'm excited for the truck season in July. Yeah, this is awesome. First of all, I want to thank you guys in the booth for doing such a great job. I want to thank Nate, Derek, and everyone who puts this race on. This is the first time I tried it. Nate convinced me to run it, and I'm certainly glad I did. And my papa for spotting for me every race through Stars and Stripes.
Nice.
And tonight as well. He's a major help. And that's about it.
What kind of milk are you drinking?
Ooh.
yeah.
I think we got some 1% in the fridge right now.
All right.
Go for that.
All right.
So you got to listen. So listen, Dylan, you got to go get a picture.
Yeah, I was going to say, we got to get the
selfie
photo.
because We got to
Absolutely.
get the photo of you drinking the milk. We got to at least find some roses and drape them around you. Mother's Day was about a month ago. Ask your mom if you got any leftover roses, and then put them around you. Drink some 1% milk and take a picture selfie of it.
Bonus
and send it
points.
to us.
Bonus points if
we
you
got
pour
to
the
share it
milk.
on social media.
Bonus points if you
Right.
pour it on yourself.
Yes.
I will do that.
All right, man. Great job. Congratulations, bud.
Yeah, thank you guys.
You too. So Andrew Medlin finishes in the second position. Andrew, you led plenty of laps. You were kind of on the other side of the strategy from what Dylan and them were doing. You were leading laps up there at the front, and obviously just trying to play the strategy to stay up there, and got yourself back there. And about 4 laps to go, I think it was. You about junked it off turn 2, it looked like. but able to come through with a second place finish.
Yeah, there were a lot of close calls tonight, but I got to tell you what, these boys in the Stars and Stripes League are a lot of fun to race with. And yeah, early in the race, like you were talking about, myself, Aaron Hale, Scott Ricard, we were kind of just slingshot back and forth every lap, and we were running away from the pack when we had that long run. But we all came back down to earth with that caution, bunched things back up, and yeah, had a couple little incidents. Had to make it interesting tonight. Got to apologize to Sam Siegel. I think I cut down on him there and wrecked myself along with him. But you know, we fought back there, and I mean, I have a P3 last year in the Indy 500 and a P2 this year with exactly 2 laps of practice since the checkered flew last year. In this car was I was actually almost thinking about not even qualifying, but so you know what, I'm gonna give it a try, and I'm glad I did because you know these guys are clean racers, and you know everybody was taking their time, giving room for the most part, and it somehow came home in P2. And I told Dylan, I said if I was going to lose to anybody, I was glad it was him. He and I used to be teammates in Stars and Stripes, and glad to see him get the victory tonight.
Andrew, can you tell us about the decision to drive the famous Unsurvivaling 12 car?
Well, you know, compared to probably half the boys in this league, I'm an old guy. I'm 43 years old. And, you know, when I grew up back in the 80s, I had a little remote control race car. There was an Al Unser Jr. car.
Yeah.
And just always loved it. You know, got it from Sears because that's where everybody shot back in the late 80s. But
Where America
and
shops.
yeah, exactly. And, you know, it just stuck with me. I like to run the classic paint scheme, and I've run it every year here. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. You know, maybe it was bringing me a little bit of luck. Who knows?
Well, obviously, tonight you did a great job, and there was one particular move you made. I want to go back like 120 laps ago. So it was around lap 75, somewhere in that range. You made a move. How many cars did you pass to go to the lead on the backstretch in that one move? It looked like you passed 4 cars.
Yeah, I was gonna say it might have been 4 or 5. It was one of those. Just, I mean, the runs you were getting were so incredible in these cars, and it was a matter of inches. And I had such a good run off turn 2 and room. I say, you know what, I'm gonna throw it in here, and hopefully I'll have to go back and watch the broadcast on Captain Esports Network here after the race. But I think I kept it down to the bottom and didn't shove those boys up high. But I said, you know what, everybody's racing so well, I'm gonna give it a try, and it stuck, and it was a lot of fun. So. You know, got to lead some laps, got to see clear racetrack in front of me a lot, but, you know, came home in P2 and had a lot of fun.
Andrew, can we go back to when you got caught up in that accident over there? Obviously, were you happy that this race allowed the fast repair? And what was the strategy that you had to change to get back to the front? But not only that, you had to save your fuel. Did you realize you could save your fuel after pitting on lap 164 to go to the finish? Or were you really, really on fumes, you and Grim?
Yeah. Well, I get to that moment, but yeah, back to my incident there late in the race, and again, just feel bad. Sam had his nose down there. I thought I cleared. I had the momentum and just wasn't. But I hope you guys didn't show me limping around the track because my car was tore up.
You did spin.
I spun out. Yeah, I spun out twice. Not once, but twice. But Derek Offerman was being very patient behind me. And I was trying to get some room in front of the pace car so he could come in and not lose a lap. And, you know, like I said, Derek was very patient. Let me gather the car back up. And I was able to get it in pit and get out just before the pace car came around. And yeah, as far as the fuel saving, I mean, as you saw, those last 25 laps or so, it was really a dance there at about 3/4 throttle. Nobody wanted to go to the front. And, you know, I was running the engine map game a lot of the race and running a higher setting there just to try and save a little bit of fuel. But it worked out well. I almost came in on that last caution because I wasn't going to make those that green-white checkered. And I thought, you know what, green-white checkered, Indy 500, there's no way we're going but 2 laps. And luckily it only went 1 for me. I do feel bad for the boys that wrecked. And actually another apology here. I hope I don't sound like I'm an apology tour, but coming into turn 1 on that last green flag, I think I left enough room for Trey and Johnny, but it was tight. And so, you know, I certainly hated to ruin their race because we were all up there in the top 4. There was room, but maybe not quite enough room. Should have been a little bit more generous there. But, you know, besides that point, I coasted to the stripe with 0.01 gallons, ran out right there. So,
Wow.
Shane almost got himself a P2 under caution there. I don't know if he realized that, but he does now. I didn't think I
Wow.
was going to make it.
Okay, so listen, and I'll let you go. We got Shane Wyatt coming up for third place on the podium. 0.001 gallons. What is that the equivalent? How far could you have got before the tanks ran out with that?
Well, I think maybe the spoiler of my car passed the bricks when it went to 0. So what is that? Maybe 12 feet.
12 feet.
So I
Wow.
was already coming out of turn 3
Wow.
on that last lap under caution. I was already the engine was already cutting off on me. So it was coasting. I came out of turn 4 at 100 miles per hour. I'm like, all right, even if the engine shuts off here, I can coast across the finish line.
Well, great job
Well,
tonight,
thank
man.
your sponsors,
Yeah,
man.
yeah,
Thank
go
your
ahead. Yep.
sponsors. You're the man.
Yeah, yeah. Well, first off, want to give a shout out to you boys for calling a great race, or what will be. I know it will be when I go back and watch it on YouTube tonight at Captain Esports Network. The boys at Stars and Stripes, the Lynch brothers, and Derek Offerman, appreciate them inviting me back. I haven't been able to run with them on Thursday nights just with personal schedule conflicts, but I always like coming back for this race. And obviously, Valvoline, it's on the car. We talked about it already. Al Hunter Jr. Running that paint scheme tonight. Got to say hi to my beautiful wife, Sarah, my dad, Bruce, and Aaron. They're usually watching the races. And again, congratulations to Dylan on winning the Indy 500. I had my wife buy an extra gallon of milk at the store today just in case I needed it. But I guess I'm going to have to chug a few glasses tonight since I'm not pouring it over my head.
There you go.
And,
What's wrong
and
with
definitely,
silver?
yeah. And definitely last but not least, yeah, Shane Wyatt, I'm finishing P3. It was a lot of fun. Looking forward to coming back next year, boys.
Absolutely, man. Good
Oh,
job,
man.
buddy. Congratulations.
Have a good night. Thanks again.
You too. Andrew Medlin finishing into second position in Little Al's car, the Valvoline car from back in the old heyday. And, man, yeah, kind of a surprise here in third position, not because of I guess mainly because of the way it all went for him. He had everything happen to him tonight. Shane Wyatt had multiple destroyed cars at times, and what was it, like literally 20 laps ago? Weren't you like in the back or something like that? And you find yourself P3.
Yeah, it was definitely a roller coaster of a night. We started on the pole. I don't race with these guys, so I was kind of learning everyone at the beginning, what their driving styles were like. So to be able to start on the pole was a confidence booster for sure. So we started on the pole. We were up front for a good portion at the beginning, and then I spun Kyle out, and I want to apologize to Kyle
Yes.
because I did get into him. Just kind of getting used to everybody's slowing down points here. I'm also a stock car guy, so I'm not really used to these cars. But then we got in an incident later on, and it destroyed our car. But luckily, we had a fast repair, so we were able to get back up to about 12th. Well, then we pitted, caution came out, and we ran out of fuel. So then we went a lap down because we had a penalty for passing the pace car. So then I think we were down to P24 at one point. With about 25 to go, we shot around the leader so that I could get back on the lead lap. Caution came out. Everything kind of went my way, and then just there at the end, everybody wadded it up, and we were able to get around them. So, like I said, it was probably the most roller coaster of a night you could have, but definitely really proud and really happy to bring it home in P3, especially in a league that I'm not really familiar with. But these guys all did really good tonight.
Shane, you kind of were referring to about the different personalities of these drivers, the way that they competed against you on the server tonight for iRacing. What is it that you look for and the differentials that you have in your racing abilities that allow y'all to be able to try to race and compete? And you really, like you said, you got a lot of new talents out there. You got a lot of unknowns. What do you do going into that? And are you happy, obviously, with the product at the end of things?
Yeah, I mean, the number one thing you want to do is get comfortable. I run in the Sunoco Cup Series on Sunday, so I'm really comfortable around all of those guys. Whereas you come over here, and I have no idea who any of these people are. So it definitely took a while. I'd say I probably didn't start to learn, people's driving styles until about halfway, and then by that point, we were so far back it didn't matter. But it's definitely about being comfortable and about learning the people around you, where they're going to slow down, because you do have to slow down quite a bit in these cars when you're back in traffic. And like I said, I don't run the Indy car, so I was trying to figure out the car and figure out the other people at the same time. So definitely had my hands full early on in the race, but everything seemed to go completely wrong from like lap 40 to like lap 180, and then lap 180 to 200, everything went great. So like 195 to 200. but it's definitely a huge roller coaster of a night. And Brian Wirtz says hi, by the way.
Hey, thank you. Hey, Brian.
Well, obviously a crazy race there at the end. Did you have a lot of fun doing this kind of racing discipline? Because obviously you said you're a stock car guy, which I know a majority, if not all, of these guys are. Was it fun to do this kind of racing tonight with this car?
Yeah, I mean, it's been a few years since I've ever done the Indy 500. Obviously, the iRacing had that debacle with IndyCar, so
Right.
it's been a while since we've been able to do one of these. So to be able to come and do one of these events, that was broadcasted and was able to show my sponsors off, that was cool. And then to be able to get a podium finish is even better. So I definitely had a good time. I appreciate Nate Lynch for inviting me out. Like I said, I'm not a league guy, so it was cool to come run with some other guys. But yeah, it was fun. I had a good time. And like I said earlier, these guys were pretty clean, so I'm sure that their oval side of things is good as well.
Well, great job today, man. Send some shout outs out, whoever you like.
Yeah, obviously Simrat Market's on the car tonight. Simrat Market's been with me for about a year and a half now, and they support everything that I do. So huge shout out to them. Nate and Brian Lynch for inviting me over here. It was a great race. Shelby Park Marketing, Reaper Speed Lab, SM Racing Products, Fort Worth Screen Printing, and Richmar Florist. I got a lot of sponsors that support me pretty much no matter what I want to go do. So, you can use code Shane27 at checkout with simratmarket.com to get 10% off of your order. No minimum required.
There you go. Great job tonight, man.
Thank you.
Shane Wyatt finishing in the third position here tonight at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway Virtual and iRacing. The Stars and Stripes Indy 500 comes to a close, and Wyatt finishes in the third position behind, of course, Andrew Medlin and Dylan Grimm. And my gosh, Wesley, that was a lot of fun, man.
It was. And before we do let you go, here is the official, pending anything happening in virtual post-inspection, the unofficial results for the annual Memorial 500 for the Stars and Stripes Racing League here at the virtual iRacing Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Dylan Grimm is the winner to drink the milk. Andrew Medlin will finish second. Shane Wyatt third. Alex Pafali is in fourth, and Scott Rickard the top five. Jonathan Thier is sixth. Andrew Hell is seventh. Trey Jackson eighth. Nate Lynch will finish ninth. And Chris Zachary Nelson will finish in the top 10.
Yeah, it looks like Rickard must have got disqualified by iRacing because it's got him eighth over here, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and put him fifth. Nate Lynch, you mentioned ninth. Andrew Hess finishing 11th. DJ Weeks 12th. Zachary Nelson 13th. Mark Schrader 14th. Josh Robinson ends up in the top 15. Of course, all these guys were in that last lap wreck, I believe. 16th, Christian Lotion, who somehow landed on pit road next to his pit stall. Mark Fish finishing 17th. Brian Lynch 18th. Derek Offerman 19th. Kyle McCoy, tough run there in the 20th position.
Yeah, there's the top 20 and the rest of the rundown, obviously, as we move into the 27 drivers that started this race, including, obviously, Kyle McCoy, the champion, by the way, for the Stars and Stripes Racing League Xfinity Series. He will finish in the 20th position. 21st, Jason Gratton, followed by Greg Hammond, Josh Gratton, Lloyd Moore, and Brian Burchett. There's a couple other guys down at the bottom of 27 starters, and that includes the gentlemen of Sam Siegel and Talon Drake. There were, by the way, 8 caution flags as well as 1 overtime attempt when this race ended tonight. Hey, what was the tally for
I'm about to go look. We're going to see if I can find the lead changes real quickly here.
Lead changes for the race before we get off the air here for sure. It was fun.
See if I can find the that would probably be in the results, would probably be in the league page. So let's go over here to see, I'm not I just thought about that. Give me 1 second here. It's going to be a minute as I go find my way to the
I'll cover some time for you, by the way, but it's all said and done. Of course, got Rickard and definitely a battle there at the end. Got trouble, got held up there at the end, but it's all said and done. Kyle McCoy, also the regular season champion. Problems happening for that driver. He had to settle for being the champion of the regular season, so he wins the war overall, but for this special event, just come up short when it was all said and done. Kyle McCoy over Scott Rickard in the overall championship battle of 14 points. Josh Robinson finished in the top 3 in the points, 42 back, 48 back is Tom Ogle. Zach Kreitz, 50 back in the top 5 of the points ended, including also Christopher Smith, Ross Tatum, Will Bustler, Jason Gratton, and William Duff in the top 10. By the way, this race was a non-points event. Like we said, the special race for the Memorial Stars and Stripes 500. Hey, by the way, big thanks to sponsors, including the fine folks, of course, at Next Level Racing, Butt Kicker, the Full Throttle Podcast, available on all major platforms and outlets at Full Throttle Podcast Racing. And thank you also to Verizon, the nation's #1 5G network. They sponsored the Stars and Stripes Racing League all season long, Chris.
Yeah, big shout out to all those guys for helping out. It's always good to see sponsors getting a part of series and stuff like that, and that's definitely really, really cool to see. And yeah, unfortunately, I'm still waiting on I actually just sent a message into Discord to say, hey, they might know how many league changes we had because I couldn't find my way into the league. So call me a big fail fish for that one, but it is what it is. So. Wesley, man, hey, I appreciate it. Well, I think we're definitely going to have to get back together on Sunday and do this all over again for the top split of the, I think it's the open cars on Sunday. I can't remember which one's which, but either way, I'll definitely be in contact. But, man, I appreciate it. You definitely brought the energy tonight, and you definitely made this a lot of fun to do. So I appreciate it, man.
Thank you to you as well, Captain, and thank you everybody that tuned in the Captain Esports Network. It was a privilege, a pleasure, and an honor. And now I'm going to get off calling iRacing, Chris, and I'm going to pack the rest of my clothes and luggage.
Where are we going?
And get ready for my voyage of the weekend. Well, I got to work for World Racing Group and for the Steel Block Bandits. I'll be on the road for the race at Dixieland Speedway in Elizabeth City, North Carolina tomorrow night for both series sanctioned bodies. And then on Saturday night, I'll be at the half-mile beautiful gym located out of Richmond, Virginia Motor Speedway to announce the $10,000 to win Mark Batten Memorial for both the late models, $10,000 to win, and the modifieds, $10,000 to win. So it should be a good one. Yeah.
Awesome.
And like I said, my plan is to drive back overnight. I mean, listen, the economy sucks now. If inflation, fuel prices, everything else. It costs literally double, triple for a hotel room than what it used to be.
Yeah.
And literally, I'll have a place to lay my head down for a hotel on Friday night, Saturday. But then after the race Saturday night, I'll drive back home. So I'll be home. And I'll be ready in the chair, man, ready to rock and roll for this race on Sunday. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely, man. We'll stay in communication. You stay safe out there on the roadways. And we appreciate Wesley for joining us. And the one thing Wesley's never done is heard the old slogan that the captain has. As we head out here. Congratulations to Dylan Grimm, who has won the 5th running of the Stars and Stripes Indy 500. And as we go off, enjoy the rest of your Thursday night. I wish it was Friday. Thursday night. And always remember, this isn't just a game. It's iRacing. See ya! Right?
This copyrighted broadcast may not be reproduced, reused, or retransmitted in any form without the authorized written consent of Captain Esports Network. Captain would like to thank all of his loyal fans for your continued support, and he hopes you enjoyed today's broadcast.
The following is a special presentation. From the Captain Esports Network.